Hello, welcome to my live stream. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today marks the 4-year anniversary of owning my car. Well, actually, yesterday technically was. However, 4 years of actually having it here at home because there was when I bought it, I wasn't able to get it back to my house right away. So, the guy I bought it off of actually, he happened to be a tow truck driver, and my dad had AMA at the time. I didn't, so because technically when I bought the car, I didn't even have my license yet. I had my learners, but not my actual license. Which, for any of you who's wondering, learners, it's when you're 14 you can get that. Then 16 you can get your driver's license. But to be honest, I did not get my driver's license till much later. And it was just one of these things, and it's really, really amazing. Like, I love my car a lot. It has been such an amazing car, and it's taught me so much about cars in general. Like, because I knew a lot before, but I've expanded my knowledge a lot because of this car, with the Fox bodies and everything. And I will say, I know a lot on the Fox bodies, but I don't know everything. It's true. Like, I know quite a bit, but there's always going to be somebody that knows more than you, right? And case in point, you can watch my one video that I posted about a week ago on, so to spot the differences, or not, it's not spotting differences, it's what makes 79 to 82 Mustangs 1 year only for every year. And it turns out I apparently, like, just about every year of the Fox body is 1 year only. I didn't know that. There were just slight minor differences between the years. But I got some of the stuff a little wrong in that video, like the lock location on 79 and 80s, for example. I got that wrong. And I didn't realize that the 82 GT grill was actually on the 79 pace car first. And I didn't know that, to be honest. I've never actually physically seen a pace car in person. I never really paid attention to the pace cars, to be honest, because they're just like, okay, it's cool, but it to me it's not that special. Like, they're cool. I love their little air dam on the front and the spoiler out back, but they were only available as a hatchback, which GTs were only available as hatchback or convertible. They never did a notchback for some reason. I don't know why. Even though the notchback was the lightest, you'd think they would do that, like a version of that as the GT, but they never actually did. Just like the SVO, again, hatchback only. Quite a few of them that, like the performance ones, they never did it as the notchback, and I don't know why. It's just very odd. But you can always adapt those parts, to be honest. It's not that hard to do. Although I didn't realize. So I would have actually had the 82 GT sort of bumper extension on my car. However, I did not realize that you actually need the upper bumper support as well that has that, that GT, like the grill and everything, which I don't want to swap the grill to that on mine. I'd prefer to keep the honeycomb grill. Or I guess not honeycomb. It's egg crate, technically. Grill. I was thinking Pontiac wheels with honeycomb, right? Because Ford hasn't really done the honeycomb thing, to my knowledge. Maybe they have, but I think it was Pontiac. I know it was Pontiac for sure. And you'll have to excuse me because the video I put out for the anniversary video for the car of just having it home, which so many things went wrong in that video. Like, you might actually want to watch it if you haven't, because it's so funny. Because I just washed the car, right? Just before that. So I get problems with trying to shut the hood. It's just not closing correctly, and I had to play around with it and finally got it. The door wasn't closing, and I had to play with that a little bit. It's something that happens because I thought I dried everything off enough, but no, it was cold enough to where it just instantly froze. So even just with a little bit of moisture, and so it was just difficult. Even like when I got home, I couldn't quite, use the key on my door because I just wanted to check that to see, can I actually, unlock my car tomorrow when I get into it? because I will be doing stuff to the car tomorrow, because there's a major problem with the car that you'll find actually in that video as well. I'm gonna explain it here though. It's to do with the taillights. I've been fighting those taillights since I installed them, and it might be time to just say screw it and get rid of them. Unless I can figure them out. Even though it's so sad because I spent so much money on them, but I've had nothing but problems with them because they're LED sequential taillights. And I've never got the sequential to work properly with them. Like, it's supposed to light up 4 different boards and only lights up like 2. Unless you have it on the 4 ways, which then it lights up like 3. When I first installed them, when I would press on the brakes, the tail lights would cut out every now and then. On some of those instances, they would just light up and then cut out. It's like, okay, and then I had to just quickly get off the brake, get back on it, and then we'd engage the taillights again. So, but now, driver's side taillight is completely like really not working very well. And you'll see that in that video, to be honest. It's bad. I didn't realize how bad it got. And part of that might be my fault, to be honest. Because of when I resealed the taillights, it's possible with what I initially tried to seal it with, got onto the LED board. I was just frustrated, wasn't paying attention, and hopefully it didn't damage it. It just needs to be cleaned, and then it'll be okay. So that'll happen tomorrow, and I might do a live stream of that tomorrow too. We shall see. Of working on those. I don't know. I've never had luck with trying to live stream that way. Like live stream working on cars. The only time it's worked out for me was just cleaning the motor on that 302 that I put in the Lilo. Yeah, see, and the one thing is the wiring, I didn't do the wiring on that, and it's not much. It was just tying into one thing on that, and they're just about plug and play. And then the only other wire that I had to add was, because it was actually Roy Marco that wired them in. But I had to add a, not that it actually did anything, to be honest, but it was a wire that goes to the negative side of the brake switch, which that's what he said that I needed. But doing it didn't change a damn thing, to be honest. We were still having the same problems, so it's on there, but it didn't change anything doing that. And these are supposed to be like his deluxe ones, which are very expensive. Like, if you want to go buy these from the guy, they are like $700 or something like that. They're very expensive. I got a discount because of my YouTube channel, and I could give him a little more, but I'm not really liking them as much. Like, the overall construction is pretty good. I don't like the controller. It's just small. It's not labeled very well, and it's one of those things. I would have made the controller bigger and labeled it. And other than that, they're not too bad, but it's just, again, I've been having problems with them. And it's possible, like, because he did show them working in his shop. So between then and here, maybe, I don't know, it got damaged in transit, but you can't really tell with it or something. I don't know. I really don't. And like me and wiring, we're not the best of friends. Never have been. And may never will be, because I don't really deal with wiring typically. Sweeping LED system. So you mean like sequentials like mine? Because that's cool. I love sequentials, and that's the whole reason why I did that in my car. I wanted to do that but it's just been a pain in the ass. And like, because and we'll see if I can't figure this out, because I might just end up sending these LEDs to you and seeing if you can figure out how to fix them, right? Figure out what's the problem, and maybe it's my car. It's possible, because we are talking about 42-year-old wiring as well in the car. So it could even just be that. Um, not that I didn't have any problems before. The only problem I had actually was one of the wires for this was the passenger side. Common. I've had to do this on 3 different Fox bodies, to be honest. The wire just was a little loose or whatever, and you couldn't really get it that tight without like soldering, and I didn't want to do that because you kind of want to still remove that if you need to, right? So what I actually ended up doing before I put the LEDs in, because once the LEDs were in, I didn't have to do this anymore. Uh, basically, is you find the position where it actually works and you just duct tape it to the header panel. Boom, done. I did that years and years ago to get that to work, and it passed an out of province inspection being that way. So, which although there is some questionable things about that out of province inspection, which was done by 2 different shops, that I got that out of province inspection done that they should have noticed, because like my front brakes weren't amazing. They worked, but they weren't amazing. Yeah, I mean, and it's possible, but again, right now, I don't think that that's the problem right now. I'm just talking about before with the issues that I told you about with the taillights cutting out, because I never quite understood that, and it not getting the full thing. Now, the full thing, guy that built these claims that there's a like a little speed dial, but I haven't found it. Like, and apparently it's not a 360 dial; it's only a 270. So you have to be careful with it. But again, I've looked at them; I can't find that. So it's really annoying. And if they were slow, I'd be okay with that. They don't have to be fast. I could slow it way down and get the full sequential to work. It'd be great. But it's just one of those things, and it's just annoying. Like, and I will see what I can do tomorrow, and I should have bulbs around. If not, I could maybe no. Parts car is gonna be so buried in snow right now. I wouldn't even be able to really access it for parts. Uh, Not that I want to do it, but I could still, or actually, I could just go to Napa too. I could just take my dad's Magnum and go to Napa, which I still need to do anyway. So it's just one of these annoying things, right? And it happens. I should have bulbs somewhere. I just don't know where they are. Um, yeah, I don't know where they are, but fight. I will find them more than likely, because they might actually be in the convertible. They might be in the glove box of the convertible. I'd have to look. Just again, I haven't touched the convertible in quite a while, so really like look through it and figure out what's all in there, because I don't even know. But yeah, but anyways, getting back to, honestly, it's just, sorry, and I'm still promoting my video here, and I don't pay for promotion. If anybody knows about me, I literally will just go through and I will share my videos in a bunch of different groups. That's what I do. Because paying for promotion when you can do it yourself, and it takes me a little while, granted. Like, this will take me about an hour, and I've already been doing this for about 30 minutes, give or take. And it's just one of these things. Just go on Facebook, post to a bunch of different groups. That's how I grew. And like, I post a lot, as you guys know. I have over 700 videos on my channel. Now, minus the shorts on there, I probably have closer to like 450 videos, but that's still a lot. Considering like other people that I know, they only have maybe 200 videos tops, right? And I just have so much more because I just do it, right? I do a lot of short videos too, a lot of them, because it's just good little teaser content and kind of show you guys that stuff that I can just quickly film, or just me just talking really quick. I can show you guys that to, say what's going on, right? And then you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about 100% in the videos coming, right? Ah! Ugh, sorry, had to sneeze. That was awful. And something, because I decided I was gonna try to with the video today. I was going to compress the video a bit, just to try and make it a little easier to upload. Because when I do these videos, like that video today is a little over a gig in space, right? So it takes up quite a bit of my phone. Like my biggest videos have been like 4 gigs, right? So it's one of those things. And my phone naturally will compress videos a little bit the longer they are, but it's not, to the level of like something else. So what I tried to do, I downloaded this compressor and I did that, and it took about 10 minutes to fully compress the video, which was fine. You know, then I upload it to YouTube, and then like, oh, it compressed it from 1 gig to like 128 megabytes. I'm like, sweet, that's awesome. I upload it to YouTube. I quickly look at the video on YouTube, and oh, top quality is only 480p. Screw that. So I delete it, and then I just upload the original one. I need to figure out that, because like it's one of those things where it can, because of how slow my internet is, it can take a while to upload videos. Now, something that I could utilize is I could totally drive my car and go to McDonald's here in town, run off of my data, and I actually get 5G at McDonald's. It's weird. I don't get it here, but across town, which is only like a couple kilometers, I get 5G. So, and 5G is just so much faster than LTE plus, right? Yeah, like I wish I could get it on over here, but I can't, because a lot of things would be better. Yeah, oh, exactly, and that's one of those things. Like I said, I just wanted to, I just wanted to make it a little quicker to upload, because I didn't have to use data for that to, 100 megs. So okay, it's gonna take me about 15 minutes on my internet, which is funny. That's how long it takes. So if I use straight Wi-Fi, a 16-minute video that was 128 megs took 15 minutes to go. Right? So, yeah, that's how bad my internet is. And it bogs the internet when I do that. Sometimes it can fully break my internet too, where it just does not work. And I have to go with data no matter what. It's just amazing. And like, and I use, like, my phone uses a ton of internet, to be honest. I use on the month right now, like I'm over 300 gigs on just my phone for internet Wi-Fi, not data. Data, I'm at like less than 10. But it's just amazing when you're on your phone constantly through your Wi-Fi, and you just look, right? Luckily, never hit anywhere near our cap for the internet, so it's quite good that way. But yeah, it's just funny. And and like doing everything else. Actually, I need to see. Awesome to see production for that. So sorry, somebody just messaged me out of the blue, and they were actually talking to me like that. Like I have a really good personality and stuff like that in my videos. That have you ever considered being like an automotive presenter and doing something similar to Top Gear? I mean, yeah, I've never been given the opportunity for that though. I don't think this guy really has the credentials to, like actually be doing this, but maybe he does. I don't know. Like, that's one of these things. And if that becomes a thing, that'd be so cool. Because yeah, I could be a really good presenter that way, I think. I am very energetic and stuff like that, and that's one of the things people love about my channel is how energetic I can be. Although it's funny that there are some people that have complained, because there's a lot of channels out there, like a lot of, it's not even just channels in general, it's actually just a lot of media with automotive content, and they're so boring. they don't have energy, and I like to bring that energy. And like, and if you've watched my video today, you can see that energy in that. Although it's really funny because how many things go wrong in that video. It's honestly, but that's why I keep that stuff in Kit Kat Motorsports. I think Nestle would have a problem with me using that name. Just sneaking suspicion that they would not like that. Although I really love their chocolate bars. You know, if they wanted to sponsor me that way, that'd be cool. Because I would sponsor Kit Kat all the time. Frick, hell yeah, I love Kit Kats when I can actually eat them. Because or I can eat them a lot of the time. It's just I feel really awful whenever I do, and it's just my body the way it is. But you know, I'd eat a Kit Kat in every video. Hell yeah, and I would do no cuts in that whatsoever. I would just eat the bar really slow on camera and not even talk. Just nom, 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 nom. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I'm a little small for Nestle to be sponsoring, sadly. But that's okay. That's okay. I do. Um, I've never gotten a proper sponsorship opportunity. I've gotten one sponsorship, but it's not a paid one, and it's just a free product thing, and it's actually pretty decent. I just don't like the clamps on it. Other than that, it's good. It's just a little battery tester and charger. It's quite nice. See, and that's the one thing that people don't realize. I am actually tall. Well, tall for a woman. If I was a male, I'd be short for a guy. But I'm tall for a woman because now those boots are probably about an inch too, a little bit. Just they're winter boots, right? So they're a little thicker. But I'm 5'9", almost 5'10", to be honest, without any shoes on. So yeah, and when you see me, with any, and especially like when I wear heels on the channel, you can tell how tall I am because I tower over a lot of different things. And like, because every once in a while I'll break out some nicer shoes just because I want to look prettier. And that's all it is for, to be honest. It's not for the views. They definitely help the views though. I know that if I really just wanted to go all out and just do the full sex appeal thing, I could pull it off and I could get a lot more views, but I don't do that, right? It's just not my thing that way. And there are some girls, like there are some girls that do it, and power to them. That's fine. You can do that. It's just not my thing, though, right? Um, and okay, I already have Katarina's garage. Why trying to change it? Stop that. Stop that. Now, and I mean, like the one thing is though, because I actually do. Now we're not. I've never actually met them, but there is a possibility, potentially as small possibility, that I could be involved in some TV production in the future because of people I know. Um, but we'll see. I doubt that'll even happen, but I don't know. It might happen. I just need to know whenever they're going to be on Edmonton next because I'll just meet them, right? Because I do want to meet these guys. It's Big Easy and Uncle Bobo. They have a channel called now on here that is Junkyard Resurrection, but they actually had another channel that was Coastal Auto Reaction here, but they don't use that channel anymore, which I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't understand why they did that because they had a really big following. They had like almost 60,000 subscribers, I think it was. And then they started a new channel and they stopped that channel. I'm like, why don't you just change the name of your new channel and do it that way, right? You can still have your old videos unless there's something contractually involved with the production company that they're working with. Because they're going to be doing some actual TV stuff in the future. So, and maybe that's what it is, or that's the test, perhaps. I don't know. Because yeah, I haven't talked to them too much about that, to be honest. I know Roy Marco. He may have had an opportunity to do some TV work with them too. Like we shall see. And look, I like so their new channel, Junkyard Resurrection. I like a lot more than Coastal Auto Reaction, to be honest. Um, just the stuff that they do, and I mean, and oddly enough, some of the cars that they've dealt with on the channel, I have actually ridden in or driven myself. So, because when they were at Roy Marco's, I haven't been in the C50 yet, and actually, that's the only car of his that I haven't been in. Because I've been in every other vehicle that he owns at this point, other than his Packard, of course, too. But and there's a truck that if I had the money, I would buy it. There is so it is a 1970, I think, 70 F250, single cab long box. That honestly, it has 300 inline six, and it's a 3-speed on the floor, right? I've actually driven a truck similar to that, except for it was a 77. Uh, the one I drove was kind of a piece of crap, though, because the one thing is the thing did not want to idle. At least when it was really like warmed up driving down the road, it did not want to idle worth for crap because and there was just something wrong with the carburetor. Honestly, that's all it was. So what I had to do was, because I drove it back from the auction, I could have driven a nicer like 2005 Grand Prix, but I'm like, no, I want to drive the old truck. It's just cool. The radio worked. The blower fan, though, if you turned it on, it sang the song of its people, and it was very loud. And it was just kind of a cool experience. And it was an old farm truck that sat for who knows how long, but just drove it back to Keith's place. It was about a 20-minute drive, and it was nice. But there was a couple of areas where we had to stop along the way because I was following him back, and the truck, the first time it happened, it stalled out. I'm like, oh, son of a, okay. And so I figured out that I had to keep the revs up on the truck because otherwise it would stall out. So, and it's not like because it had a tack in it, but it wasn't that low. So it was like, okay, you're just a bad carburetor, clearly, or a carburetor that needs to be fixed, right? Just rebuilt. And it's one of those things where it's just one of those things. It would be like fun. That truck is cool. But like I said, I like that 70 more. It's just a cooler body style, in my opinion. And I could have an opportunity to buy it for only like $1,000, to be honest. When I visited Roy last time, he talked about it, and I said I would throw it to my buddy Keith because he might be interested, and like Keith is interested, but I don't know if they've done anything with that yet. Really not. Like it has some rust. It's not terrible. The thing, it's so weird because when you watch the video, which actually, you know what? I can just link it right here. Let me find that video really quick. I'm off the screen that I'm usually on. Junkyard Resurrection. There we go. And I mean, they already have 1,700 followers. Like they haven't had a channel for too long, to be honest. Like this new channel. And like I don't watch every single one of their videos. I have watched a few of them though, and I have liked what I've seen so far. It's just, let's see, where is, so it wasn't that one. It was not. Yeah, so they've only had a channel for like 4 months. But where is that video? There it is. So I'll just really quick Control C, X out, and I will just post it for you here. If you want to, you can click on it just so that you have it in your thing, and then you watch it later. Because yeah, that video actually is pretty good, and it's just kind of funny. It does need work, obviously. They did get it to run in drive, but it didn't have any brakes, which is typical for Fords that sit. I don't know why that's a thing, but Fords, whenever they sit, they always, always, or 95% of the time, their brakes don't work. And I don't understand why that's a thing. Chevys typically don't have that problem. A Chevy that sits, you can literally just throw a battery and fresh gas in it, and it typically fires up and has perfect brakes. It's wild. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and actually, I did notice that it's up to 5 viewers. Only 2 likes, though. What's up with that? Come on now, guys. I don't really harp on that, to be honest. Like it at your, you know, like it how you want. It's fine. But yeah, like, and that truck. So that truck's in Edmonton, in some dude's backyard. It's actually, I think that's where Roy got the Packard. I think. So we have to see. We'll have to see for that. Oh, and somebody unliked it, bastards. Again, I don't really pay too much attention to that. I just pay attention to the chat. You know, if people are chatting and having a good time, it's great. Um, I'm almost done promoting this. I should be getting close to the end. Although it's really funny when they can. I like the 300 design. It's a really bulletproof design. Like, if I own that truck in that video, my plans with it would be, okay, swap the intake for a 4 barrel, because 300s, honestly, they can take like a 500 CFM 4 barrel, no problem. And I would swap that 3-speed manual out for probably a 5-speed, like maybe. I'm trying to think, because not a T5, to be honest. I wouldn't put a T5 in it just because the T5 is not going to hold up to any towing, to be honest. Maybe something like maybe even an NV 3500. You know? Ah, okay. Okay, so you're running the same setup in yours. Cool. It's kind of funny. So maybe this guy's actually being serious about this. The one thing is about this whole. Oh yeah, like that's the one thing. So as the 300 inline six, once they're similar to the 200 in this regard. Once you fix the airflow problem that they have, because they do, they're so restricted. Even the 300 is restricted as well. You put a long tube header on it, you put a carburetor on it, and I'd even put like maybe a cam in it, and I would swap out the tranny, but that 3-speed is okay. It's just not ideal, right? And rear gear, I'm gonna guess it's an F250, that 1970. It might even be 410s, to be honest. Likely somewhere like 355s or something like that, but maybe even 410s. It's possible, right? Yeah. Oh, and I bet it does. Like, it's gonna have the torque. Like a 300 inline six will have the torque of a V8. Especially when you do a little bit of mods to it. Might not have the horsepower, but it'll have the torque. Twin charge injected 300 cubic inch. I built even pistons and headwork on paper. When I've engine dyno. Wow. Now that is badass. Like I honestly, and I know those 300s can actually take that. It's interesting because the Ford 302 can't. You can't push that kind of power out of a 302. A 351, you can. Sort of. Not quite that much torque, but that much horsepower, you could. But that's the one thing about inline sixes, is you're always going to have typically quite a bit more torque than you do horsepower. On average, because that's what they're designed for. They're not designed for horsepower. Inline sixes, for the most part, are designed for towing. Excluding some newer inline sixes where they're just designed to have horsepower because they're like overhead cams and stuff like that. But see, and that's the one thing, because I don't know the parameters of like those motors of what you can actually push them with stock internals. Like, what can you do? because I haven't looked into them too much in that regard. Yeah, it's interesting. So this guy talking to me, he seems like he's interested in actually doing this, but he would like to find a third, which I know somebody that would be interested. Um, Actually, I know a couple people that might be interested, but whether or not, it just depends on the energy levels he wants. Because there's one that has similar energy to me. I'd have to talk to him about that. I don't know. This might be a thing. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of, to be honest. He's got that high energy. The only problem is he's still in school. So that's the tough part of figuring that out, right? Because he's only 16, right? If he was out of school, different story, right? Can do it 100%. Be fun. I don't know. But he'd be perfect, to be honest. He would be perfect, because me and him have really good chemistry together, to be honest. Anytime we've done stuff together, it's just been a lot of fun, and you can see my input on the Grand Marquis that he bought off of me. You can see me in that video a little bit. I did help a little bit with his filming, not a ton. And I was giving him some pointers on that. So yeah, and it can, because like there are, I will say, because I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think, honestly, of, because yeah, I mean, Roy Marco would be interested, but he doesn't have the energy levels though. Just he doesn't. He's a good guy. I like hanging out with him, but he doesn't have high energy. So if he wants high energy, the only person I can think of is Team Mechanic, to be honest. And he's just young, right? So, and that's the interesting part though, is that because depending on how old this guy is, we could, you know, oh, exactly. And that's the one thing, because I know that does help with some of my views too. And sustained views is that, wow, that's pretty awesome. And like, because the 300, I know the 300 is a kick-ass engine. Um, and it's not like I haven't thought about putting a 300 in the car. But then I realized the gains I would get from a 300, because I wouldn't be modifying the crap out of it right away, right? Um, Jesse, I'm gonna guess. So the Maverick, they have a long nose on them. So maybe, because I know you need to notch the firewall in a Fox body to do it, unless you just move the rad completely forward. Wow, I'm shocked by that. Because I think in the Fox bodies, you do actually have to notch the firewall, I think. Um, Not by much. It's by like less than an inch. But I think you have to. Now, the one thing is, because the 300, the problem with them is they're long and they're tall, right? Because I looked into it. The logistics of doing that in my car, it's not worth it. By the time you do all that, whatever, like there'd be so much custom fab to do it. Just not worth it, in my opinion. Um, because like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool, but it's heavy. Like, it's not a light motor. So, well, you like on the, yeah. Oh, so that one's right against the rad. Yeah, that doesn't shock me. Oh, Bronco 2, that would be almost a nightmare, I think, to fit a 300 in that thing. Honestly, you know, I just have a sneaking suspicion that I don't know if you can get that to fit without doing something crazy like I don't know if you remember the Roadkill where they took the Suzuki Samurai and put a 440 in it. That may have been Roadkill Garage, but regardless, one of the Roadkill things. And yeah, with a modified Fox body. Ah, okay. So they took like a QA1 or something like that. K member. Okay. And obviously modified it. Yeah, that could work. I have thought about like I'd be curious. It has been done in Rangers. Okay. Yeah, I mean to be honest, your Bronco 2 is a Ranger just with an SUV back on it. Underneath the hood, it's gonna be identical, I would think. Um, Other than of course your 4x4, but and which Rangers could have an option for 4x4, but most of them are rear-wheel drive, right? So, interesting. Which that's the one thing, because anything I want to do to the car, like anything like that, I don't want it to be so tight to do anything that it's just a nightmare to work on. Or at least for some stuff, like pulling it out and stuff like that. I just want it to be easy. Like that 200 inline six, easiest engine removal and install I've ever done on a car. Period. Easiest thing on the planet. Holy crap, how easy that was. Putting it back in was a lot easier than pulling it out, but yeah, I'm not shocked by that. You would think of the Fox body you'd have to as well. Again, I've never measured, but it's either you notch the firewall or you move the rad forward, depending on what's. I mean, depending. Some might be easier than. So this guy that I'm talking to, he's actually serious about this sort of Top Gear thing, but like a Canadian version that's just and hopefully like because the one thing is about it, you'd have to have chemistry with all of the members because otherwise it just doesn't work. And I don't know this guy. Don't know who this guy is, period. So just some guy that messaged me on the blue. So we shall see. Well, yeah, that's it because it was designed for it, and an F-250, they have a giant engine bay. So that's not surprising. Yeah, so maybe that'll be well, that might be a thing that happens maybe in the summertime or something, that we figure something out and just do some filming, see what happens. Because this is the one thing. If, we can do it, because you can pull that off without a camera crew, to be honest. We could do it very cheaply and do it. I've thought about doing it myself. No, there has never been even a version of Top Gear in Canada. Period. Like even any clones of it. We've had, people do like cheap car challenges and stuff like that on YouTube. That's, and that's something that I wanted to do. I've always wanted to, give, like have say $5,000 saved up and give, two different people $1,000, see what they can find for that, and then we have a kind of shootout with the cars, right? It'd be so much fun, but I just don't have the money to do that. Yeah, we'll see. The one thing is, because I will say, with a 300 inline six in the car, no matter what. So if you want to put a 306 in the car in Fox body, you have to get a cowl hood no matter what, or you just cut a hole in the hood and you make a custom scoop that way. Regardless, you have to do that. Only reason why I know that is because my 200 inline six barely fits. With height wise, it fits lengthwise, no problem. But height wise, it's yeah. At one point, I had now I've actually done a different spacer for the carburetor. That's not as thick, but when I had the thicker spacer on that carb underneath that carburetor, um, I had this stupid like I still have that. I love the air filter. It's an Edelbrock, one of those K&N style that it's the oil filled style ones that you can clean. Right? It's on my convertible now. I had that one on, and it came with this stupid. They still sell them. This wing nut, and I actually have it somewhere around here. It actually has the Edelbrock logo. Well, I didn't know this. When I had it on my car with the Edelbrock, stupid logo on it, it was actually mm, hitting the hood. I had no idea it was doing that. So, hey, you know what? If you want to send me a Barra Turbo with, like a 6-speed tranny, I would consider it. Like, but you got to remember, I'm one of the most broke people you'll ever meet. I have almost no money. You know, $20 for me can actually be a bit of money for me at the moment, even though it's nothing. That's one of those things. I would do a Barra in that car in a heartbeat. The only problem with the Barra though is trying to find parts over here is going to be a pain because obviously they weren't here. Um, but other than that, they're a very good engine and they're freaking fantastic, and they can make so much power. It'd be so much fun. Just on the turbo setup for the. Where'd you find that? That's an interesting. The That one is so weird. Looking at that, just I know what they did there. I can see exactly what they did, but it's very weird, man. And actually, hang on. So they made that as a draw through setup. That's a weird one. Like, because every other one I've seen has not been draw through, and also, I mean, they cut this off of a car, I think. Unless no, the engine block's actually in behind it. I can see that. But that is weird. Why would you do it that way? Because honestly, so much easier to do as a blow through. So much easier. Granted, now people have actually done a blow through with that style air filter. Like, yeah, it is in a picture. Here, I'll here, see if you can see that. There you go. Right? It's a weird setup. So that's the stock log intake. You can see they took a stock style. So that is the cast iron. You know, that is the cast iron exhaust manifold, and they just have it going up into that turbo like that, and it's a draw through setup. Which, looking at it, I don't even. It's weird how that works. So I don't know, and it's gonna take a second for this thing to. There we go. To focus back. I guess that's true, but anybody I've seen with these have gone a because there are a few turbo setups out there. Uh, you know, I would like me personally, the blow through is easier to do other than tuning. Tuning is a little harder, but actually setting it up is easier because, as you know, with a draw through setup, you can have issues where the air can actually push up through the carburetor if you're not careful, right? That's why it's better just to have it go down instead of, that's why it's easier because you can have more problems and initial setup. Once you actually have it set up properly, it's good. Because I've seen people do draw through setups and not have it set up properly, and air just blows straight through it. No, not blowback through the turbo. That's not what I said, Shane. So with a draw through setup, what I have seen, and again, it's people who have severely screwed up. So the turbo, right? It's spooling, then it goes through, and it's only most of the air going down into the engine, but actually there has been ones that I've seen where the air, some air is actually going up and through the carburetor, not down into the intake where it's supposed to, but going up into the carb. I have seen it because when somebody they had air filter on top and it blew the air filter off, but it was not backfire. So I don't know what they screwed up, but they screwed up something quite severely to do that. Um like it was so much pressure that it actually like stripped the stud in the car. So it's one of those things. Like that is a clean setup. To be honest, like, if I turbo mine, it'll be much different than that. But it's one of those things that we'll see. I do want to turbo my car. It'd be cool. See, and I don't know. Like it was a very old video. It might not even still be around anymore. But like, and I watched this video. I was bear in mind when I watched this video. This was like 10, maybe 12 years ago. So I don't even know if I could find it. But yeah, and I don't even remember what engine it was on. I just remember it happening. Oh, maybe. Again, you guys know more about this than I do, so it's one of these things. Like, because I've thought about turboing my car, um, and you know what that would take, which it wouldn't take too much to be honest, because I know my engine really likes boost. They love boost, but not a lot of boost. Stock internals, you can push 10 pounds of boost. And that's with stock rockers and stock springs and everything like that. You don't have to do too much to it. If you want to do more than that, you have to actually, do internal work to the engine, right? Because otherwise, yeah, I have heard that you will window the book. So, but well, I have a turbo. I do. It's I can grab it. It's an IHI AS12, which they did actually put on Volkswagens. Put it on their diesels, but it was mostly on like Perkins diesels for like generators and stuff like that. And like welders and that sort of thing. So that's what that is. I got that for free. It's actually a good turbo. I haven't taken it apart, but you just look at it, it's in really good shape. And like there's no play in you know, there's no play whatsoever in uh the turbine or anything. So, and it's only 46 millimeter, which is perfect for my little engine. Because people talk about, oh, you need a big turbo. Well, depending on your setup, no, you don't, right? The smaller the engine, the smaller the turbo you can have. And 200 cubic inch motor, 46 millimeter turbo, it spool up really quickly, which is nice. You don't want a slow spooling turbo. At least I don't. I want to have that power that's, it's there's gonna be a little bit of lag, that's of course, but not I don't want like old school like 80s turbo lag, right? As fun as that can be, I would prefer to have the power much quicker. Yeah, and I mean, and I thought about it, you know, and because like oddly enough, like if I really wanted to, I could modify my cast iron intake to have a turbo mount on the front of it very easily if I wanted to. But no, I would honestly do a header that way and put a turbo mount on it. And yeah, it'd probably work a lot better. The only thing is, because with power numbers that we're talking, it'd be close because again, you cannot. So you're capped with stock internals at only 300 horsepower or 10 pounds of boost, whichever comes first, right? So that's the tricky part, right? Because once you put the header on, you're going to gain about 50 horsepower, 40, 50, somewhere in there. Then that you're saying I can gain up to 30 to 50 horsepower with like 60-ish foot-pounds of torque. It'd be really close. Oh yeah, well, like I'm trying to remember who it was that was talking about would there be an air, like somebody mentioned, I don't know who it was, there might be an airflow problem with the injection system because it's not going to flow enough air. And actually, I think it was my dad. I think my dad said, you know what, the turbo might work better because you'd get that airflow in. Which and I like the one thing is It's just figuring out how to set it up, to be honest, because we don't have a proper turbo mount. For like, I'd have to buy a piece of metal, or get a piece of metal machined out that would fit that, so that, and then get a tube that attaches to it, right, and goes straight to the header. It'd be perfect. And I know exactly where I put it, because I can put it right up front, because there's so much room in that thing, so much room. Or I could put it literally just about. No, actually, no, you don't want it right. Well, actually, no. In this setup, it doesn't matter, because I was thinking, oh no, I could put it right beside the carburetor, but then I realized, wait, no, that's gonna be bad. Then I realized, wait, no, actually, it doesn't matter about heat right there, because that doesn't matter anymore, because it's not gonna be carbureted. So you could put it there. Oh, it's multi-port fuel injection, so it's gonna be directly into the cylinders. Um. Oh, okay. Because I was trying to figure out where you were actually tying into, to be honest. Because for some reason, I thought you were doing it right at the intake. Like at the end, so not the very end over here, but like, so here's the head, right? And I thought you were doing it like right there, but no, you're gonna do it up there. Okay. Now, question with that, would you be able to, like, because and again, I didn't know, and that makes the most sense to do it that way. Would it, no, would it interfere with the valve cover at all that way? Or would the valve cover have to be modified? No? Okay, cool. Cool. I was just curious about that, because it's just, there's not a lot, there is room to put injectors. It's just a little tight, but you can do it. But I guess when you have no carburetor there, it's actually much easier to figure that out. So yeah. Yeah, no, you could do it that way. Cool. Yeah, I mean, um because that's the one thing that I'd have to do. I don't. I need to. If you draw a straight line up the runner. Oh, okay. Now see, because I do wonder. I wonder if with my neighbor, and again, it's gonna be once the snow melts, so it's gonna be give or take another month. Give or take, it's gonna be close to that. That we get to work on this header. You know. Um. Because if we design it with a turbo in mind, and bolt the turbo on there, make sure that, it's not going to hit anything. Maybe what I could do, so that you could set it up a little bit, I could send the header with the turbo flange on it down to you, and then whatever motor that, because I'm not having any luck finding a motor, to be honest. You might just have to try and find one, but you can find them like even in generators and stuff like that too. So yeah. Oh, there's gonna be a custom fuel rail, 100%. It's and it's gonna be it's not gonna have a return to the tank either. It's gonna be a returnless system. So will be interesting to see how that works. And just figuring out fuel pressures and stuff like that, right? But yeah, it should work. And at that point, I do wonder if so, because we were thinking like stock 3.8 injectors, we might have to go like 3.8 super coupe just with the added air, but maybe not. I don't know, because we're trying to, like, with the setup, it's supposed to be like cheap, right? As cheap as we can do it, but then also have, for the most part, commonality of parts where I can just go into a parts store and find stuff too, right? It just makes it so much easier instead of having totally custom shit, that takes forever to try and find, especially when this is my daily driver, right? Now I do have two other cars right now, so it just, the Dakota isn't here, but you know, yeah, there you go. So it's, like I said, he knows this stuff a little better than I do. But I do know that yeah, he was talking about that last night. But it is interesting of, because not many people have actually recently given any like their bad input onto this. Um, no, honestly, that'd be easier to. You'd have to measure them. It might, but I don't think so. The distances are probably going to be more. I would think. I don't know. Oh, nice. Well, hey, if you want to go, drink and have fun with your friends that way. Oh, rude, freaking rude assholes online. Okay, so you are going to be doing that. Okay, yeah. So he's going to take that and then just modify it. So okay, cool. Because that's the one thing. He is the master when it comes to 3.8 V6 Fords. If you ever want to deal with one, he's the guy to talk to be honest. Yeah, so like, and I'm actually an admin in this group, and I could ban this person for that, to be honest. Like, so I post my video, right? And I shared it around. And like I post, the caption on this is I've owned this car for 4 years and it's amazing how much it has changed. This car was destined for the scrap heap as the owner at the time wanted to rip the rear end out and scrap the rest. It took a total of 11 months to get it to pass inspection, and I learned a lot. Now the car is nowhere near stock other than the motor internally. See how she has transformed. But and then this guy comments, "Bruh, if some chick told me she was into building cars and then pulled up in this and started explaining how it took her 4 years to build, I might think about moving countries." Really? Like, the one thing is, I didn't do this as a ground up build. I was building this as I was driving it. I don't think this guy realizes that. Oh, the fact I was building this as I'm driving it with not a lot of money. Like I don't understand how people can be that rude. Like it's one of these things. Like there are people that'll take 20, 30, 40 years to finish their car, right? And technically, I got mine on the road in 11 months, right? So and then it's not even done yet. And yeah, it's just I don't understand people like that. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, well, the fact that I was building this as I'm driving it with not a lot of money, and especially in the beginning, I wasn't looking at building it this way either. Majority of these mods have been in the past year. Because yeah, technically, the rear end was this year. The transmission was just a couple months ago. The carburetor that's with now, that may have been earlier this year too. Actually, I think it was. And the rad I did previous to that, the seats were in this year. The carpet was in 3 years ago. Headlighter was in 2 years ago. So yeah, no, it's one of these things. It's just funny. Mm. Yeah, it's true. It's just I don't I don't get people that are like that though. Because it for me, I don't care how long it takes you. And actually, if the one thing is, if you do an entire build of a car, like so you do an entire build of a car. Let's say you have a car and you do that build within like a month. I'm gonna question a lot of stuff on your car typically, just because you probably slapped it together. Now there is some stuff on my car, I will fully admit, mainly one thing, well two, that you know is not up to perfect standards, and a lot of stuff isn't, to be honest. But a lot of the stuff is good for my standards, but for other people's, it's nowhere near. Like my my seat mount for my car, because you can watch that. So that short little video that I posted, I shared it actually in a couple of areas, and actually, Shane saw that. The original seat mount ripped through the floor when I bought this thing. It didn't happen on me. It was already ripped that way through the floor. So, and unfortunately, my grinder died. When I was going to do this, and I after the fact, I know how I could have done it differently and made it better, but it just in the moment when you're rushed, sort of thing, and I had to do it. I basically only had like less than an hour to try and do this, so I just did it, as quickly as I could, because I was running out of daylight and I had to get it to the shop that night. So that was one of those things for it to get. There was some work done on it. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, it was to have it for the out of province inspection that was happening the next day. I had to get this done. So what I did was the seat mount, because on the Fox bodies, what they have is they have a stud and they have a counterweight that goes underneath the floor. But it's not uncommon for that counterweight actually to be ripped out of the floor, because like you might have loose bolts or whatever, and or at least like the bolts in the back might get a little, or like bolts. Regardless, it can rip out. To be honest, it does happen. It's not an uncommon thing. So I grabbed a piece of metal, cut it to the way I needed it, and then I welded it onto the floor and realized, oh crap, I should have put the counterweight underneath, drilled a hole, welded it to that, then welded the floor. I didn't do that. But rather, what I did was I welded that plate to the floor, then I welded the counterweight on top of that. And it works. It hasn't broken that weld. It's an ugly weld because it's flux core, but it's held, you know? And like, and then the only other thing was involving welding. That was this year. There was on passenger side of the car actually does need a bit more work than the driver's side, quite a bit more. So there's a lot of Bondo that was covering a lot on that side, and there was actually, so weirdly, there was no rust. It was just a hole in the body that somebody was covering up. And if I was to do it differently, like I do have a slide hammer, but I just did not. I mean, you guys know I don't have the energy as much to do the other stuff, right? So to do the stuff I want to really do. So what I did was I tacked in that hole, and it's sealed, and it's weather won't get in. I didn't pull the dent, but I filled in that hole. No big deal, right? It's just I didn't have my grinder's been a pain in the ass, so it just, and I couldn't really grind it down very well, so I just said screw it and just left it there. It's kind of ugly, but it works. It works. That's all that matters, is that it works. Yeah, it's just one of these things, though. Like I said, I mean, it's just people are assholes only. But yeah, so it's just one of these things, and and then those are the two things. And now I haven't done enough flux core welding to get a really good weld. My flux core welds always stick, though. I will say that. Well, depending on the welder. There was one welder I could not get it to stick at all. Like, so there was actually, I borrowed this Power Fist welder, and I could not get a weld to stick to save my life with this welder. It was just a piece of crap. So that's when I got my welder, my nice Mastercraft one, and it works really well. You know, I like that Mastercraft welder. Yeah, exactly. Like I will never bash flux core. You know, it works. It works just fine, and you can grind it to look nice, right? But it's one of these things, you know. I just rude people like that. I just don't understand the mentality. Like I don't understand the mentality of it. And actually, because I'm part of so many groups, and I actually help admin this group, so I am going to see. I can't remember what the rules are of this group, but also, and because I am an admin, I'm just gonna say, and also, be kind. Be kind to other members. Being rude like that is an easy way to be kicked. You have been warned. Period. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta, flex your admin powers a bit when you have them, and yeah, it it works. But it's one of these deals that I just, again, people are just weird, because I never understand that negativity. Like, why be like that? And like, am I upset about it? No, to be honest, it is what it is. Welcome to the car hobby, right? If you can't handle that, you probably shouldn't be doing anything in the car hobby. It's just one of those things. Especially as a woman, we get criticized the most. Now it's funny though, because I bet if a guy posted the same thing, he wouldn't make fun of it. But because I'm a woman, you know, that he is trying to make fun of that and trying to get me upset and trying to get me riled up. But it's not gonna work there, but because I deal with trolls all the time. So yeah, it's just funny. Oh yeah, it can be. Like I admin, I think about at least 10 or 15 different groups. A couple of them I run myself. But a lot of them are just self-sustaining. I don't really have to do anything in them, so that it's not so bad. Like one of the groups, it's just dead, and unfortunately, I can't do much with it. But which comment are you referring to, Shane? Because I haven't seen you type anything for a while. No, I didn't see a comment from you, Shane. Sorry. Just looking back, the last thing I saw you put, you said, "Look, well, look how I was treated." Also, that's the last thing you put in here. So I don't know if it just got filtered for some reason, which it should have told me. But because I do allow all comments, but some, if there's an issue with it, it should be sent to me, and I can see it and I can just approve it. That's weird. I don't know why. It's just one of these things. Like, but the other thing though too is like, just recommented. No, I'm still not seeing, like, or other than, why are we friends? Like, is that what you're trying to say? And yeah, so actually the one dude that was saying that crap, he's in a group that I help run. It's a local Alberta group, to be honest. Alberta auto enthusiasts. And like I said, I'm one of the admins in the group. I'm one of the most he's not in that group, so you know, because it's only for people that are local to Alberta, right? So, and I know he's not in that group, period. But even like I, I'm looking on Facebook and actually, okay, okay, yeah. I mean, and to be honest, like, and that's one of those things, and we can all. we all have different levels of what we can do. And I love that, to be honest. I love that statement. And because it really does encompass me as a car person. Because I don't have the flashiest stuff. I don't have the money to build that either. And to be honest, if I did, would I build it like super, super nice? I mean, I might. I don't know. Like I do have with like there are ideas in my head of what I would do to my car if I just had a bunch of money. What I would do to it because it would be wild, but it's not gonna be wild. It's just not gonna be as visually wild. It's just going to be internally wild, right? So yeah, it's one of those things that and I do love that, and yeah, and I'll always work on my own stuff as much as I can. Have I gotten help along the way? Yes, I have. A lot of the stuff I wouldn't have been able to do on my own, especially with the energy levels I have now after COVID. So it's one of those things. And even with all the rest of my health stuff, right? I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have a manual swapped 88 rear end in my car, period, without Keith's help. Guarantee that. Because, like, Roy, he'd be interested in doing that stuff, but he doesn't have the facilities to try and do a longer term project like that. I bet. Yeah, like, and to be honest, it's one of these things. And I will never say, if I need help, I will fully say that. It's one of these things. And like, I have screwed stuff up in the past, but let's be honest. Wait, I changed a word and I said that very same word. That is weird. Yeah, because I didn't see that. Um, I might have to go into my. I wonder if I can change that on the fly. I don't know if I can. Hang on. I'm going to try and change that. I'm currently off screen at the moment. Let's go to YouTube Studio. Okay, let's go to customization. No, I'm not doing a channel trailer. I don't need one. Okay, no. Settings maybe. Channel. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, community. No. So guidelines, no defaults. I don't want it to hold. Okay, yeah. I do have it set up that way. I just found it. So, okay, so that's weird. I do have it set up for potentially inappropriate comments to hold for a review. So it should have told me about that. That's weird. I don't know why it didn't. So I was just looking really quick because I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have that set up that way, but apparently not. But yeah, that's very weird. Very weird. I wonder what it was. Yeah, and like and to be honest, like so the one thing is like because I'm in the because I rejoined because I left it for a while, but I came back. A group called No Boys Left, right? And there was just one member I had a problem with, but she's gone now, so it's good. There are women in there that know not much about cars, to be honest. They just like them, and that's all that matters. You like cars, and you'll attempt to do some work to your car. Even if it's just not performance oriented, if it's just looks, that's fine with me. Although I do think a lot of the time that mods that you should do to your car should be more towards the performance avenue of it, or if you're doing a modification to your car, it should not diminish the way it drives. So, as in, it shouldn't, if you're doing a modification to your car that isn't for handling or traction, but if it, let's say, makes your ride quality worse, then I think you shouldn't do that, in my opinion, right? Um, and like there are some things you can do with, looks that is fine with me. I don't care. Like, and if you want to do just pure looks, that's fine. Just make sure that it does not diminish how your car drives. That's it with me. You know, that's why like donks are weird to me because it's just a style thing, but it very much reduces the way your car drives. It drives like crap after that, and your performance is way down, your economy is way down after doing that, and it's one of those things, right? Or even any of those squatted vehicles and stuff like that. Oh, definitely true. Like, don't get me wrong, there is a certain amount, which is not very much. It's maybe like 2 or 3 degrees, to be honest, of negative camber that is actually effective and somewhat safe. But when these people do, they're over that, that is dangerous. And and people don't realize that. It's something that people should watch, to be honest, when they're doing that stuff. Because granted, it might look cool, but it's not safe and it makes your car ride like crap and handle like crap. Like I said, it's only like 2 or 3 degrees of negative camber that actually do proper stuff. Any more than that, on average, depending on your setup, it will be bad. And like, there are some negative cambers that are a little more than that I don't mind. But the lookup, however, I know that it's bad, and I would never put negative camber on my cars. No, even the JDM style cars that I like, I don't own any of them. But if I ever did, I wouldn't do negative camber. You know, it's just one of those things. It's just no. I I like to drive my cars. I don't like to just look at them at a show, right? That's one of these things because you can't daily a car with negative camber. You just can't. You know, Yeah, well, exactly. Like there is a point where it's just way too far. Like when you have like that much of your tires still on the road, way too far. But when you have like say because like I said, about 3 or 4 degrees is typically where that's the most effective. Any more than that, and you're losing performance and all that stuff. You're gonna increase wear no matter what with negative camber. Even with that 3 or 4 degrees, no matter what, your tires are gonna wear weird, and they're gonna wear quicker. But if you're actually racing your car, like negative camber can actually be good, as we know, right? But again, it's not very much of it that makes it good. But it's not something that I would do ever, you know. And all I gotta do, okay. Bye, Felicia. You were warned. You have been warned, and you're gone. Bye bye. There we go. Yeah. Oh, exactly. And now here's the thing, because anybody that does this, I immediately judge them. So for people, unless if it's just like a derby car or just a car that you're bombing around in a field or something like that, then okay, fine. But people who cut coils, what are you doing? Because they're designed the way they are for a reason. Once you do that, you screw up the geometry of the car, and it can actually be very dangerous. So, it's just one of these things that I never understood that. And you can even see it. Like, there are episodes of, for example, when Fast and Loud was still on TV, because it's off the air now. In the beginning, they were cutting coils. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, never do that. Ever. Just ever. It's so unsafe. You know? Yeah, well, exactly. That's why, like, there are people that I see that want to build drift cars. I'm like, so because for me, my racier car, I do want to drive on the road. I would like to. It's one of those deals. Because look at my '81 Mustang, right? It's not a race car, but when I'm done with it, it'll be a racier car, but I can still daily drive it, right? It's gonna have a decent amount of power. And I do want to add a roll bar to the car, to be honest. I do want to do that just for safety purposes, honestly. Just a roll bar, not a full roll cage. Because then a roll cage, then it gets to be a pain in the ass to try and, jump in and drive, right? And have passengers, because I still have passengers in the car. But I thought about even deleting the rear seat too. Just make my own sort of, with like sheet metal and just cover up and then put just some nice red fabric over top of it so it matches the rest of the car. I've thought about doing that. Yeah, no, don't do that, please. I want it to still be reliable by the time I'm done. I don't want it to blow up, because even though I can get replacement engines for next to nothing, it doesn't mean that I want to be doing that, because it's my daily driver. So no, it can't be blown up. So don't, don't. Plus, it's still the original motor in my car, which is kind of cool. It's one of the only original parts still on that car, but I think that's cool in a way. I don't want it to blow up. No. You'd have to run it with like no valve spring whatsoever, and it would do 10,000 RPM like once. It would just blow up immediately. Like, I do know people with, modified ones. Um, I have seen people modify these to rev to over 8 grand, but it's not a common thing to do. See, now that's one thing. 25 pounds of boost is actually a lot of boost. Yeah, no. Put it this way: if the boost in the car is like, so, okay, stock horsepower in that car is about 87 horsepower, right? Okay, see, now, Shane, you have to put a little asterisk on that with a Super Coupe, and you know that, because you do have to do modifications for it to actually hold that. Otherwise, you're gonna blow it up very quickly, and you know that. You know that, because I know that. I know that stock Super Coupes can blow head gaskets, let alone ones with 45 pounds of boost. Yeah, stock heads and bottom end. Yes, I know that. But there are stuff you still have to do to it, though, right? You can't just put 45 pounds of boost to it and it'll hold immediately. It won't, right? Yeah, it's mainly the head studs is the main problem of those. Other than that, they're actually good engines, you know. See, I've now don't get me wrong, you're the guy that knows about this, but I always thought it was so, like, you need to do head studs in the head gasket, then you can boost it quite a bit more. You can actually build it out, and even you kind of want to do that to a stock one because they blow head gaskets. Okay, that is head studs. That's head studs. Just like what Jesse said, head studs and head gasket. You know, that's what you do, right? Um, that that's what Jesse said. He said head studs. Eh, I wouldn't trust eBay head studs. And honestly, ARP head studs are not expensive. Anybody that really cheaps out and wants to put a bunch of boost in their car, they're an idiot. You don't cheap out when you do that. Exactly. Like it's not that expensive, and then you can do a lot. Like that's the one thing. And it's actually funny because I have a full gasket set for like a 95 Mustang 3.8. Full gasket set, everything, you know? And because it came with, so little context. When I got my convertible, it came with an extra motor, right? That motor was a 3.8. The only problem with this motor, because I was going to drop it into the car, but then I realized that, oh, there's going to be a problem doing that because this is a front wheel drive engine. So they have a different bell housing on them, right? So it wasn't really going to work out that way of just bolting it into the car and just putting my stuff on it, excluding I would have grabbed a 2-barrel intake and carb because the CFI is trash. But so yeah, like that motor I think was out of a Windstar. It was freshly rebuilt though. Like it was fresh, right? Nice motor. I don't know if it was broken in or not. Hadn't a clue because I couldn't find any information on it. Like I called, so I figured out where the auction was. So I called them. I left my number, but they did. I think they gave it to the guy, but they never responded back to me. So yeah, and I had this motor for a while, but it would have been great. Now, the one thing though that actually, and I don't know, the block itself, I know it was a 3.8 front wheel drive one only because the heads indicated as such. But something that threw me off, because some of the numbers on it indicated that it might have been a 4.2, which, as we know, that was the truck engine, right? But the bell housing pattern didn't look right. So yeah, because otherwise that I would never have sold the car, and it would have had that 3.8 in it, not the 302 that it has now. Because oddly enough, I think I'd be making as much power with a 3.8 that I am with that. I should probably more, to be honest. But yeah, it's one of those things, and the block is different. Okay. Because like honestly, and I was just going off of like some things on it, like I know that the front wheel drive 3.8s, they have a weird bell housing on them. Pattern, because they have like the bell housing pattern from like a 3-liter Taurus, essentially. Heads are the same. Okay. Well, maybe that was. I don't know. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. Hmm. Because just looking it up, because the one thing is, and just doing a little bit of research, I didn't do a ton. Because apparently, like the heads, they look identical, to be honest, and they are, other than there was on the heads themselves, it actually says FWD, which apparently indicates a front wheel drive block if those heads are on there typically. So I don't know for sure. Um, at least that's what I found out from research. Now, it could have been wrong. Like, that could have been wrong research. Yeah, oh yeah, like, and I did have like, you know, I had like an idea of putting like a Windstar intake on it and stuff like that because the Windstar intakes flow extremely well. but compared to the regular Mustang ones, but they are a little taller, so it's one of those things. You know, but it's just again, I didn't. It just seemed like that. It seemed like that was, but then the guy I sold the motor to, he claims it was not that. But I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, if you run into the roadblock, you gave me the money, so that's on you. I didn't sell it for much because who wants a 3.8 that's freshly rebuilt? Not many people. Everybody goes for a 302, which is funny because that motor, if you don't have to do much to it, would have probably made about 200 horsepower anyways. And a 302 that's if you're just getting a 302, high output is only T35, right? It's not much more than that. So at least the later high outputs. But yet you're much lighter with a 3.8, because you also have the aluminum heads too, compared to a regular 302 that has cast iron heads. So it's definitely interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah, it's just and yeah, it's one of these things. Now it's funny because actually that dude that was commenting that way, I banned him, and it's fine because he was just he just kept complaining. So just like, see ya, bud. Um, just one of these assholes, and we don't, in any of the groups I'm part of, we don't tolerate that. And if you are, bye bye, right? Because I don't even know who's active in that group anymore for the admin team. Because we have a group chat, but we haven't used it in like over a year, so I don't know. But it's just funny, and it's one of those things. But yeah, uh, yeah, but the one thing is though, and you can push quite a bit of power out of those, right? The one thing is that motor, if it would have worked in the car, I would have put it in there, but I wouldn't have really made a bunch of power out of it. I still don't really want that out of the convertible. It's just the convertible, I just want a nice sort of cruiser that has a decent amount of power. That's it. you know and that kind of power in a Fox body is a lot. It's a lot. 300 horsepower in a Fox body is actually quite a bit too. That's what people don't realize, because just how small and light they are. I thought they were a 4-liter V8 with the V8 in the SHO. I could be wrong though, but I thought it was 4-liter. uh Ford Taurus SHO. Oh, I guess they were 3.4. Okay, I was wrong. I don't know why I thought they were 4-liter. Huh. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just heard nothing but not as good stuff. There aren't rules, and he's now gone. But yeah, so 3.4 V8. To be honest, I don't know much on them. They're not. I don't really Okay, that General Taurus is fine as a car, but as an enthusiast car, not my thing. Just not my thing at all. And that V8 apparently is one of the worst engines to try and work on in a car. Apparently, it is the most tight you can imagine to try and work on that V8. But any transverse V8 is a pain in the ass, no matter what it is. But still, that's what I've heard about them. And they didn't rev as much as the early motors, and it wasn't done by Yamaha. It was just a Ford motor, right? It one of those things. I liked the first gen SHO. I would own one in a heartbeat. Plus, you can also get one as a stick, which I actually know where a first gen SHO has been sitting for years. I've wanted to talk to them about it, and I just haven't to see what's wrong with it. Because if there's not much wrong with it, and if I can get some cash together, I would buy it just to have fun with it for a little bit and then flip it. V6 SHO is just cool, right? And it's also, especially when you get Yamaha, you know, involved in the designing of your engine and the tuning of it, you're doing really well because Yamaha is very good at that. Although it's weird because Yamaha is a weird ass company when you think about what they have their hands in. Because Yamaha, they do music stuff, like they do guitars, and they do well, more like pianos and stuff like that, but they do guitars and amps and stuff like that. But they're also a legendary tuner company, which is just wild to think about. And that they have those sides, right? And they do. Like, I like the look of those engines, everything about them. I love a first gen Taurus SHO. Cool. So somebody apparently they just found my channel. They didn't know about it at all, and they're a subscriber. So yay! I got a subscriber tonight. Woo! Actually, there's quite a few cars that do that. To be honest, um, now off the top of my head, I can't think of them, but I know there's more than that. To be honest, there's quite a few that do that. And then now, I mean, if you get really, really new stuff, they actually some of them don't even have a vacuum operated brakes. It's all electric, which that bothers me when you have electric brakes because that sounds dangerous. Sounds dangerous, you know. And well, also a lot of these newer engines they don't really produce as much vacuum. They're and the fact that and also a lot of new engines. I don't know how these engines okay, yes, they can run 87 octane, but you shouldn't. But a lot of them can because they just retard the timing and all that crap a lot doing that. But it can wreck an engine, to be honest. If that way, if you just keep doing that, I do wonder about my dad's Magnum out here because he always puts 87 in it, but it's actually recommended that you put 89. I bet it would run a hell of a lot better on 89 or even 91. Yeah, oh yeah, like that. There is electricity is good for some things, not for safety items though. That's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's like these people that they'll put electric power steering racks in their car, and some of these, if the electricity goes out, you can't steer the car, which is just that's just dangerous. No, no. Some of them are okay. It's just all it is just the power assist for electric. That's fine. I don't care. You can have that, but not the entire rack electric. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know? If you put Marvel Mystery. And it wouldn't have smoked. It is funny because some guy um like commented on my video that I posted today, and he said he had a 1980 Mustang with the inline six. It smoked a little when he got it. He beat the holy mess out of it for about 2 years. Smoked a little when he sold it. He couldn't kill it. And I just told him, I bet if he still had it, and if he put Marvel Mister in it, I bet it wouldn't smoke anymore. That stuff is just amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. I've done quite a few different motors of just they burn a bunch of oil. Well, no, don't worry, just put that in it. Hey, look at that, it doesn't burn oil anymore. It's wild. Because even that Capri, that 81 Capri that I did a bunch of work onto, which still needs a bunch of work too. That thing, honestly, that was one of those deals that way that it smoked really bad when we got it when we picked it up, but put some Marble Mr. Oil in it, and look at that, it cleared right up. It was like almost instantly. It was amazing, and to this day, it still doesn't smoke anymore. It's wild, even though it hasn't started in a few months. But yeah, no, it's just it's one of those things. And yeah, like vehicles that don't have vacuum, to have an electric vacuum thing is fine, depending. But again, you don't want that. Or if you're at the point, say you've built a car and so much, and you want to sort of still drive it on the street, but you put way too hot of a cam in it, so it doesn't actually produce the vacuum that you need. Honestly, at that point, if you know, just put manual brakes on it and say screw it, because they're going to be easier to press than if that thing goes out. Hey, no worries. Definitely appreciate you coming out, Shane. And yeah, we'll see. Because maybe tomorrow afternoon might be another live. We'll see. I don't know for sure yet. Um, I might just do a video instead. I don't know for sure. But hope you have a pleasant evening, and I'll catch you later. Who knows? He might message me too. Yeah, good night, Shane. Um, yeah, because I'm actually just looking. What's that at now? Because that's the one thing. Like, if you haven't seen the video that I posted, after the live, if you have time, it's only like a 16-minute video. It's worth watching because it's funny, honestly, because of how much stuff actually goes wrong in the video. It's like you kind of see me just like, oh, really? This is happening? Because I washed the car previous, but like I couldn't close the door and I couldn't close the hood for a bit in the video. It took me a while. Yeah, it's worth watching because and you actually see. So there is a clip because like today is the 4-year anniversary of actually getting my car home. Yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of owning the car. So when I did there's about a minute clip of me just talking really quick. Then there is then it goes about a 3-minute clip of now. Unfortunately, I didn't learn back then to hold my phone like this. I was holding it like this, and it was cold, so you could hear me sniffle and stuff like that. But you see the state the car was in at that point. It was rough when I got that car, and the fact there was a bunch of mouse shit in that car too. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Because like oddly enough, like I know for me, um, you know, it is when I got the car, March 11th. You know, yeah, March 11th, 2019. That's when I bought my car. Just before the pandemic. And then, which it's funny. So we have to go back a bit. So when I was looking for my first car, 2 weeks prior to that, I almost bought an '89 Ram Charger. I was very tempted by it, but I just wasn't sure how I was going to get it home because I didn't have a license at the time. Um, and we were over an hour away from home. So there was that. Like I would have had to drive illegally to do that. Um, the thing is, these guys meet us at Cross Iron Mills, and I check it out. It actually runs pretty good. Has quite the oil leak coming from the valve covers. And the driver's seat had gangster leak. It was also on these brand new Mutter tires, but they did rub, so that was gonna be a problem. It was a 4x4. 4x4 worked. Everything worked. But there is something that I found in the glove box. Was the glove box had a bunch of fucking like snotty rags in it too. It's just disgusting, to be honest. But when I look at that and I see on top of all these, tissues, I see the registration in there. So I'm like, okay, let's look at this. And it actually said that it was a rebuilt status, which they did not tell me about that. So I was a little leery on this thing that way. So it was one of those things because they could have told me that. And yes, Koss, I am live. I've been live for almost 2 hours, actually. Holy crap, it's almost been 2 hours. Time flies when you're having fun. But so this Ram Charger, and I didn't end up buying it. Honestly, just it was a cool thing, but didn't end up buying it. So okay. Well, that night, my dad's truck got stolen at that mall because we were actually going to that mall anyways to because every back then it was every Wednesday we went to Cross Iron Mills, and again pre-pandemic, and we went to do karaoke night. Now I never sang up there, but I just actually I sang once, but I'm not an amazing singer. And yeah, my dad's truck got stolen. Well, 2 weeks later, we go and check out Stitch for the very first time. Right, she's up in Innisfail, and we're in the rental car, this little rental Sentra that they gave my dad after writing off his Magnum a few weeks prior to that. Or no, sorry, it wasn't that. So no, it was because the truck was stolen, so they gave him a rental Magnum, or not, or a rental Sentra. That's what it was. Sorry, nothing about the Magnum yet. The Magnum was already written off prior to this, so because he's had 2 Magnums now. But anyways, so okay, that happens. I buy the car, happy. On the way home, stop at Walmart, pick up some tools because I needed some stuff. To be honest, to work on this thing. And it was just a cheap little set. It was a jack set. So it came with a star bar, came with a really crappy jack, a horrible jack, to be honest. When I looked up reviews on this jack, actually, at the end of the one review I saw, they lit it on fire because it was that bad, which I can attest. It was terrible. These jack stands that were okay. And there was something else in there too, I think. Oh yeah, there was these wheel chocks. Again, cheap wheel chocks, but they work. So but then as we come through the door, and about 10 minutes later, my dad gets a phone call. And it's from Calgary police, and they found his truck. And so okay, it gets all in we get it back, so it gets towed back to Sundre, get it all inspected here, and it's okay. It just needed the door needed to be patched because how they broke into it was they grabbed like a really sharp sort of pick with a hammer. And this is old school. You don't do this with new cars anymore because they have plastic door handles. You just break the door handle typically to get in. But these guys, so right underneath the door handle, they pierced a hole into the door to unlock it. And then they punched out the steering column, right? And they drove it off. It's sad because when that happened, we had just filled the truck prior to that too, and that bitch, if you drove it, even if you drove it hard, like very hard, it would still do probably about 600 kilometers to a tank minimum. you know, um, and so it was one of these things. It's like, okay, that's fun, not, and yeah, we found it, and now for some reason on their inspection of it, And even the bodywork. No, bodywork guys wouldn't have gone underneath the car, so it's not on them. It's on the shop down here that inspected it. So turns out they found out, oh, it has a bunch of gas in it. So what they did, instead of like, because with a gas tank, typically, if you're gonna drain it, you would, pierce a hole in the bottom of it. Well, they tried to, because that's just my guess. So they tried to stick a tube down the vent, the filler, but it could not get all the way to the bottom because maybe they didn't have a long enough tube. So what they did was they took a hammer and chisel. They chiseled the top of this plastic tank and they drained it that way. Well, the shop that inspected it didn't see this. So when we picked it up, we immediately go to fill it up with gas at the Shell. And me and my dad are like, "Do you smell gas? Like, we're at a gas station, but that smells a lot like gas." And then there's pooling gas at our feet. And luckily it was the top of the tank. So that was I think it was a 132-liter tank. At about 120 liters, that's when it would start to leak. And that's the one thing. We never properly patched that tank. We tried, but it just never quite stuck. But it's funny because that night I go and I pick up some JB Weld really quick because that piece of plastic was still there. So I'm like, well, maybe we can patch this and see if it'll work. Well, the problem was it was still not, it wasn't cured yet. And my dad had to go play pool. And unfortunately, like, okay, yeah, my car's home, but it's not ready for the road yet. So he drives his car or truck leaking a bunch of gas. Like every time he stopped and went, it would leak a bunch of gas out of it. And it's funny because for about a week after that, going through olds, you can see everywhere he stopped, like at every single light, he stopped at every single light. And you can see where he stopped because of the gas puddle on the ground. Now, literally, gas evaporates. And yeah. Wait, well, and that's the one thing, because we never did fully patch it. We patched it really good, but still could not fully fix it or fully fill the tank. And we never replaced the gas tank. Even when we sold it, we told the guy it'll leak at about 120 liters in the tank. So it's a 132-liter tank, which is a big ass gas tank for a truck. Huge. Like that's their extended tank because their smaller tank is only like 100 liters. So, which I don't know what that is in gallons. Don't ask me. But yeah, it's one of those things. And you know, it was just really funny because and every time he stopped, people would say, "Hey, you're leaking gas." I'm like, "Yeah, we know it's fine." Like, or at least that's what he was telling people, right? Just so funny. And it's one of those things where kind of sketch because if that gas got under the exhaust, it potentially could have lit on fire. Now that's the one misconception though. It's not the gas. So like the liquid gas itself that lights on fire, it's actually the gas off of the fuel that's what lights on fire or what will blow up, right? The liquid itself doesn't. So that's the interesting part that people don't realize. That's why with carburetors you can actually convert them to run on just pure gas vapors and get a lot better economy out of the deal. You can do that. I've looked into it, but yeah, actually that sounds about right. It's somewhere around there. But it's just one of these things, And that was a good truck. I kind of wish that I would have just bought it off my dad, to be honest, because that was a 99 Ram, 1500 single cab long box. It had really low mileage on it too. It was a farm truck, but it was actually a well taken care of farm truck for the most part. We did see some weird things in it though, like but besides the point, didn't have much for rust, and yeah, that thing with the 5-speed in it, really good truck and got okay mileage to be honest. And it's funny because I have officially essentially made my dad buy 2 vehicles, both of them trucks, both of them Dodges. There was the 81 D150, and then there was that. Because the one thing is, after, like, so the thing is, the reason why, because this truck, it was just a really good deal, when seeing it online and really low mileage. So it's like, you know what? Screw it. we just said, and I just kind of talked to the seller a bunch, and it it just seemed like this is a really good truck. So sure. Then we got a ride out to because again I didn't have my license at the time. Got a ride out to where it was, which I'm trying to remember the exact city or town that was, but by my cousin, and that all worked out good. And we bought the truck, and then because the thing is, he was borrowing my uncle's '77 Chevrolet C20 with a 350 in it and a 3-speed with a bolo, so it's kind of a 4-speed, but not really, right? It's basically a 3-speed with an extra gear that happens to be a bolo, and it had 410 rear gears in it. So economy, no, it got like 14 miles an hour, if that even. I think it was close to like 12. It was awful on gas. Cool truck though, factory dual exhaust, cool truck, and in pretty good shape. Um, but my dad needed a vehicle, so and I found this truck, and I'm just, then we went out and he bought it, and he only paid $850 for this truck. It had 132,000 kilometers on it, I believe. Yeah, it was about that. And honestly, it was a very good truck. Even when we sold it, it was a very good truck. It really didn't need anything other than that gas tank. The brakes could have been replaced too. They weren't too bad yet, but they were getting there. But other than that, good truck. And actually, sorry, I didn't see your comment there. So 98 Chevy 1500, you paid 580 for it after taxes and crap. It's still running strong with a 580,000 kilometers on it. That's pretty good, actually. It's hard to find cheap trucks like that. Like, yes, I have bought only one truck I've ever bought for less than $500. That was, you can find it on my channel. I had for a little bit 90, I want to say it was a 94 Chevrolet 1500. It was a 350 700 R4 on propane. And the truck was a beater. I did a little bit of headlight restoration on it, and I cleaned the interior a little bit. Did nothing else to it. I don't even think I changed the oil. I listed it up for sale, and some guy with a farm that had a propane refueling station bought it off of me, and I made like $300 in like 2 weeks. Like, sweet. Those are the deals I love, because you don't have to do a lot of work to it, and you can make money off of it, right? It was just such a good buy, that truck, honestly. Yep. Just replying to a comment on Facebook. Sorry. Um, but yeah, and that was the whole thing with, like in even that Chevy. That was honestly a good truck. It did have one problem though, because it needed a tune-up. It really did. I didn't give it one. I just didn't care enough. But because it would idle just fine. But then once you got on, so going highway speeds, and then when you slowed down to a stop, the thing would idle so rough, but it would never stall. It would just idle extremely rough, shake the whole freaking truck, and just keep going. It would just keep going. It had no power whatsoever. That thing was slow as hell. It's amazing. Like, I think my Vandura was faster, which is funny because it's 10 years older than that and carbureted. But that's how it goes, I guess, right? And like, I miss my Vandura. I truly, truly, truly wish that I kept that van, but it's the one I regret selling, to be honest. Because it was such a good van, and it was so cool because it was a full conversion van, high top, and it ran really good. I owned it for it was about a couple months, to be honest, and then I sold it. I'm sad about that. But it's one of these things, and I just could not keep the van. And also, it was a 3/4 ton van, so I was thinking to myself as well, I could use this for towing because it looking up towing capacity, it's about 7,000 pounds. Perfect, right? Perfect for anything I'm doing because I'm way less than that typically. So yeah, and the rear bench would fold down into a bed, so that's perfect. And yeah, like yeah, those vans are 100% a truck. Like that's a 3/4 ton truck frame underneath it. Um, yeah, and it's just one of these things, and it had a decent sized rust hole in the body, to be honest. That was the only rust on it, and like a little bit on the bottom of the sliding door. Other than that, the thing was rust free. It was in really good shape. Because even underneath, I climbed underneath that truck or that van. It was mint under there. It was amazing. Considering like it was in the dirt on the frame rails, and somehow the frame rails are fine. Like what? And it was just one of those things that that van was just, and it was so much fun to have a van for a bit. And like I love vans, I do. I don't like working on vans, but I like vans. One of the reasons why I bought my Vruck. I was hoping that hey, it could be kind of cool to own one again. And then nope, that one's just way too far gone. I can still sell it, and I can still get a decent amount of money out of it, but it's just a hard one to sell. That's all. Well, see, and I don't know if I'll buy the bump side. Like, we'll figure that out. But I wouldn't keep the bump side. I would just get it running, driving, get the brakes functional, sell it on. Because that truck can be worth a good amount of money. Even with the rust it has, which is not too bad. You look at that, it's not too bad, but it definitely has some rust in it. I could sell that truck for well over 2 grand. Well over 2 grand. Even with the 306 in it. Somebody will buy it. Like, and that's one of those things. Because even like a bump side that's running and driving, even if it's a piece of crap, it's at least $1,000, right? And that's why that I can get it for $1,000. Um, and it's just one of these things, and I would. Oh yeah, like up here, like, and 2 grand is just a conservative amount. You don't see them for sale that often, so it's hard to gauge the value, to be honest. But it is a 3/4 ton, so it does diminish the value a little bit. Half tons sell for a lot more than 3/4 tons do. They just do. Um, yeah, it's just one of these deals. You know. Oh yeah, like 3/4 tons are great. You know. Ooh, seeing it's interesting seeing the progress videos that pop up on my feed because it's after midnight here, so on Facebook, I can see like, hey, I put the door panels in the car at this point, and like, and how I sounded different back then too. I don't sound like that anymore. Yeah, so I vacuumed out all the mouse turds in the car at that point. You know, put the one door panel in, not the other one. Yeah, so, and actually, at the time, so this video, it was showing 4,711 kilometers. So that's what it was when it was home, right? Because I hadn't driven it at this point. And from just pulling parts off this car, I think it only had 104,000 kilometers on it, which is extremely low. Like that's just over 60,000 miles. Actually, it'd be just over 62,000 miles, or maybe 63,000 miles. Regardless, like that's how much that thing had when I first got it. You know, just oof. Well, see, that's the one thing. Cleaning the car out, that was easy because it was just mouse turds. That's all I was dealing with. You know, it was just nice that way. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of dust, so I can see that. Sorry, I'm just watching this little clip. It's kind of nice to see it. God, it's just amazing to see how bare that thing was. You know, back then. It's just amazing how nice my floorboards are. Like it's just mint floorboards. That's one of the reasons why I bought the car. Yeah, well, I'm sure you did. It's about a 4-minute clip, so yeah. I'll continue to read chat, but it's just let's see here. Well, see, and that's one of those things. Like when I bought this car, I wanted to document as much of it as I could. So I started to just do quick little videos like this, and that's how my YouTube channel started, kind of thing. It's just doing clips like this, which I don't even know if this clip is actually on YouTube. It might not be. Just like that other one, I don't know if it is. I want to say it is, but I don't know. You know, and it's just amazing to see how the car looked back then before I sanded anything down. You know, and it's just, you know, and like sometimes of how stupid I was in some of these clips too, because there is some stuff that I look in here and go, really? I thought that? Ugh. That's what happens when you look at old clips and stuff. And it's so funny because I think, even in this video, that like I thought that, oh, like the finding fabric for those seats will be so easy. Yeah, no. Then in before I found out that it was a 1 year only interior color. And I ran those seats for about a year in the car too. I did not replace them for quite a while. So until I actually bought my parts car, then I took the seats out and put them in the car. And then that's when I started the whole gray on red thing with the car. Just how skinny their rat was. Oh my god. It just the little things, and even like the car didn't have the spoiler out back. Didn't have a passenger mirror on it yet. And even having the wheels that are on Lilo right now. You know, it's just, blast from the past, man. Blast from the past. And now, and even not seeing the hood scoop on the car, again, that's weird. And even like the gas door wasn't on the car, but you know, it's funny. It's funny about that gas door because when I was reinstalling the gas door, I broke a stud off of it, and I have not fixed that since. That stud is still snapped off. So you'll see even in the video that I posted, you know, earlier, the gas door is actually hanging like this. It's leaned by one bolt. It's just really funny, to be honest. I just fixed it for presentation purposes, but I didn't even think about it when I was videoing. Share that. There we go. That's just awesome. You know, and I do love, like, because even it's enough. It's stayed on there. It stayed on there. I have driven it like that for 3 years now. So yeah, because and you know, and the one thing is about my car that one of my most favorite things about the car has nothing to do with how it drives, has nothing to do with how it looks, nothing like that, or even to sit in, nothing like that. It's when I got the car registered. That car was officially registered February 14th, 2020. So I can be single and it's fine because my car is my Valentine. Every year, because it's the anniversary of doing the car, of getting the car on the road. So that counts. That counts. I don't care what you say. Just love it. I love it. And it's fun, you know. But I mean, like, the car in general is just fun to drive. And even like today, so I took a couple of pictures, and actually I should post those in because I hadn't seen it there. So like they must have just recently moved it. Yeah, oh yeah, and she definitely is, and that's the reason, because registered her on Valentine's Day. So you know, I can be forever alone, but actually not. Everything wanted to act up. But yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. But actually, so what I was gonna say, sorry, I got sidetracked. So hey, there you go, cool. I was gonna say, so one thing is, and I'm gonna put this in the live stream chat here, because I spotted. Actually, I should crop it first. Crop. Edit. Because it's funny, because I threw my car for this. Because I took pictures of this Trans Am that's in this yard on the side of the road, and there was no cars in behind me, so I didn't care. I threw it into neutral and I just coasted and took a few pictures of this Firebird, or this Trans Am. It's on the side of the road. Well, not even the side of the road. It's in a lot, and it's pretty crusty, but yeah, it's cool. I'll show it on screen here in a moment. I just need to crop it. And this is the stuff you see around. It's just very, very neat. I just, unfortunately, you know, this Trans Am because the shop was closed that it was at because it's at a body shop parking lot. So let's just share those in there. Hang on. Oh, cool. Cool. So you took your first drive in. Okay, sorry, I didn't see that one comment. So you got your Bronco 2 running on your birthday. Ah, that's cool. That is the best birthday present ever, to be honest, to yourself. You know, getting your car, driving. And actually, so this is the, and I just put it in the live stream chat as well, but this is the Trans Am I spotted earlier, right? You can see that rust on that rear quarter's pretty good, but it actually looks to be in pretty good shape other than that. But who knows? It might be a lot worse than that. Um, there we go. There we go. Yeah, see, like it's in fairly decent shape overall. It's got the Pontiac rally wheels on it too, which I don't think those would have been original to the car. Like, yeah, it's really cool, and you know, it's one of those things. And yeah, and like definitely, you know, because it's rusty, but it could be a lot worse. You know, the only thing is that I'd wonder about is okay, how's the trunk band? And that's the thing, because it could be, and you don't know because you're just seeing it on the side of the road, and you're not actually able to go in and look at it closer, right? Because yeah, I'd be able to tell almost immediately if I could just walk up to the car and see if it's gone. You know, because it wouldn't be that hard. But it's one of these things where it would be sad if it's just completely gone, but it is what it is, right? These Trans Ams, because that's a '70s Trans Am. Um, they are they're kind of rare to find, but they're not like you know. Yeah, I do like those mid '70s because that's I want to say that's like a 70, maybe 75. I can't tell for sure. I'd need to look at the front end to know of approximate year because I couldn't see the front end, right? That's the one thing I couldn't see. Exactly, could be. And actually, Street Stomper, welcome to the live stream. Happy for you to join us. Yeah, I've been live for almost 2.5 hours. Still going, still going. It's also daylight savings, so I don't like. That's the one annoying part. So, because right now, even though it says, "Hey, it's 12:30," you know, it's March 13th. Well, actually, my body is still saying, "Hey, it's 11:30 on March 12th." Yeah, they did, and it screwed me up for the whole day because I'm like looking at stuff and because I wanted to, um, because I put everything to like last minute of like getting out and doing stuff. Yeah, oh, exactly. I am too. Like, because right now, like, I should be a lot more tired, but I'm not because it's only the day after daylight savings, and it's just it does because like today. So I was just having kind of a lazy day, but I just like, but I did want to film a video for the car, right, and show the transformation in 4 years of me actually having the car in my possession. Um, and it's one of those things where okay, so I was just in bed, kind of just watching The Walking Dead on my phone because I've been binge watching the series again. I'm close to the end of it, so pretty close to caught up, and some of the new stuff is going to be coming out here pretty soon. So I need to catch up on Fear the Walking Dead though too, but that's okay because I don't even remember much of that show. I don't remember the beginning, but I didn't remember the beginning of The Walking Dead period. And anyway, so I'm just kind of laying in bed and just watching it, and then I realized, oh crap, looking at my phone, it's showing like it's 5 o'clock. but it doesn't feel that late. Oh right, time change. Son of a bitch. So, yeah, because I did not get out of bed till like it was about 5 o'clock. um, and I was just enjoying myself. Right, I fed my cats, and that's all I did. Like I got out, fed my cats, and just got a snack and went back to bed. Just watched, watched it. Just again, lazy day today, and and then I wanted to go out and wash the car, and I realized, oh crap! Then also hockey game's on at 7. Oh crap! Okay, so then I'm kind of rushing to do some stuff, and yeah, and I got that all done pretty quick. So it was a good hockey game. They won 5-1, so it's like yay! It could have been a shutout for Markstrom, but Backlund had a misplay, and Markey had no shot because of that. But oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, it's just one of those deals, and it's. But I got the video out, so after this live, if you're not too tired, you should go watch that because I don't know how long I'll be live for. Who knows? I might, I might end in 15 minutes. I might end in 2 hours. I don't know yet. We'll see how long this goes for. It's one of these things. Me and live streams, because I can. The one thing that I can do compared to say my buddy Novitaz is I can last a lot longer on my own because I'm used to being on my own. I don't have anybody to film with ever, or not very often. And also like my live streams, I don't have guests ever. Fair enough. And I mean, and if you don't watch it tonight, just watch it whenever you can. And even if you don't, that's okay too. It's one of those things where it's okay if people don't watch the video. Like it's a funny one to watch, only because of everything went wrong in that video. It's so funny. But that's why, like, I don't cut my videos. I don't do any of that. I leave that in the video. Just fun. Fair enough. Well, if you do, I apologize because I'm here, and you're only here because of me. But um, yeah, it's just really fun. And apparently, so tonight was, I guess, the Oscars. So, and of course, they were joking around saying, "Hey, it's the first year without 1 year without an incident at the Oscars," because the whole Will Smith slap thing on Chris Rock. And oh, so Street Stomper there, he's the one that just subscribed to the channel. I did not realize that was you. I was gonna say I didn't recognize the name. That's why. So he just commented on my video, 40 minutes ago or 50 minutes ago, to say that how have I not seen their channel before? This is the type of content I absolutely love. You just got yourself a very happy subscriber, right? That's what he put. I didn't realize that was you in the chat. Welcome, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. Because yeah, that's one of these things. You know. Oh, it is. And I get new subscribers all the time, but a lot of them don't make themselves known, right? So it's one of those things that when I do this, you know, um, honestly, out of the 2,600, and I guess I lost a couple subscribers tonight, even though you subscribed, it happens, right? And sometimes it'll just happen. It's not people actually unsubscribing, it's YouTube unsubscribing the channels for you. It does happen. It's annoying. I've had it happen to me too. It's just no big deal. Like I don't get upset about it because, hey, Saber, I get that bag is on the floor, but now it's on your head. What are you gonna do about it? Hey, he got out of the bag. You are a silly boy. Come here. Come here. Oh, there we go. You were so silly, you know that? But I love you all the same. Because I had McDonald's tonight because they're just like I was running out of time. I was gonna do something a little healthier, but it's like nah, screw it, make it easy. And I was also like right there, so it worked out. But um, yeah, I had the bag on the floor because I hadn't thrown it out yet. Because I'm going to just when I go to bed. But Saber, who is actually because Street Stomper would never have seen him. This is my cat Saber. He is gonna be 24 years old this year, so he's a very old cat. Um, but he went into the McDonald's bag and his head got stuck, and then he was trying to get out of it. Silly boy. So yeah, just very, very old cat. And considering, I'm gonna be 27 this year, so he is. He's been around my life for a very long time. I've had him since he was 2, and he's just a good cat. And there's Rascal that found a box to sit in. But yeah, no, and it's just one of these things. And actually, so what? Me or the cat? Because actually, I don't know your age, to be honest. I know you mentioned it before, but I just don't remember. I don't remember. Oh, me, okay. Right? He's very handsome. I love him, and and he's a fairly healthy cat overall. He still has the energy and everything like that. He has some arthritis. And I need to give him medication every day for his kidneys. Other than that, he's just as energetic as he was, 10 years ago. Oh, you're gonna be 24 in May. Okay. Uh, cool. Yeah, I will be 27 in June. So, yeah, very healthy cat. That's one thing where you can with cats, if you take care of them, they can last a long time. Like Saber, yeah, we've just taken care of him, so that's why he's lasted so long. Even Rascal. Rascal is gonna be 15 this year. So yeah, like he's a pretty old cat too. And yet he's still just as he has a lot of energy. Oh, absolutely they can. And I prefer cats over dogs. Like I like dogs. Don't get me wrong, I love a dog and that they're fun. But there's one thing about a cat where because most dogs they just love you, right? They just want your attention and they love you. But a lot of cats, you have to earn that love, right? And so that's why I like cats more because you have to earn it more so. And so that's how it's a little real because like with dogs, don't get me wrong, it is real with dogs, but a lot of times, a dog sees a stranger or whatever, and it'll just wag its almost like wag its tail a lot and wag its body and just be really happy to see a person, right? That's just how a lot of dogs are. Not every dog, but there's a lot of dogs that are like that. And cats typically don't do that. Although Saber's really chill. He'll hang out with anybody. Brand new people, he'll go and sit on their lap. He's quite unique that way. But yeah. And actually, so I did want to ask, so Street Stomper there. So you found my channel and you really like the content. What is it that you drive or that you're working on? Or both? Because maybe you have a project in the garage and this is a daily driver. Or maybe you just have a daily driver and you just like watching, content like mine. Either or. I'm just curious. Because I always like to see that stuff, if I can. There you go. Get the fur off my phone, because you shed a lot there, cat. You shed more than I do, and I shed quite a bit. Oh, cool. Okay, so you got an arrow fox body. Um, Now, is that a hatchback, notchback, or convertible? And also, is it an automatic or a manual? And are there any mods done to it? I'm gonna probe you because I'm a fox body chick. And to be honest, I mean, is there in the automotive space for like for enthusiasts, is there a more popular car? I don't think so. Mustangs in general are probably your most popular car within the hobby and as a whole. I would think because I don't think there's anything else that could touch it. Because like even Ford F Series, uh, usually you're not seeing as many of them as at meets, right? So I would say probably the Mustang, and just with all of its generations, because and the Mustang we're at what generation are we at now? Seventh? Ah, okay, cool. Very cool. I mean, hey, you know what? Those things even stock, especially, you know, the later ones like yours, they have quite a bit of power and they move pretty good. Like mine, it's not fast. Obviously inline six, stock internals to the motor. You saw the video. It has a bunch of mods, but it's still not fast, right? But see, like, because my car now it's actually going to be dynoed in May, and we'll see what power it makes. I will likely make the least amount of power there, but I'll have a good time doing that. Maybe there's a trophy for that. We'll see. Because I don't know what he has set up. John, I only met him once. I have his personal phone number, and to be honest, I'm helping him promote it. So he's actually giving me free dyno pulls that day. So it's pretty cool. Um, we'll see what my car runs in the dyno. Because I do have another Mustang as well. If you didn't delve too much into my channel, I do have an 86 Mustang convertible with a 302 C5 automatic because it was a V6 car, 3.8, and it still has the stock 7.5 rear end that's an open rear end, and it's got 273 gears in it. But which I'm pretty sure my 81 Mustang's faster than my 86. Pretty sure. Because it's also much lighter too, and it's not that much less power than my 86. It's going to be about 20 or 30 horsepower down from it at this point, and or maybe even less. I don't know. And it weighs probably 500 pounds less. So because I want to say my convertible is about 3,100 pounds, but I've never had it on the scale, so I don't know. And I haven't had my 81 Mustang on the scales recently to see exactly where it's at now because it's had all those mods done to it that some of them make it lighter, some of them make it heavier. So we'll see. Because when I had it on the scales, it was mostly stock. I think I had the carburetor on it at that point, but that's it. Well, carburetor and the rad, but didn't have. I don't think I had the dual exhaust. No, I didn't have the dual exhaust. Didn't have the rear end. Didn't have the tranny. So didn't even have a headliner in it at that point. I don't even remember. But yeah, it's one of those things, and I'm just gonna keep building it. And I don't want it to be an absolute monster. That's not what I'm looking for. Like my 81, I want it to basically beat up on like cars like yours where they are stock, or even if they're like mildly modded. Maybe they have an exhaust, maybe they deleted the emissions, stuff like that. To where um basically I would just want my 81 to outrun it. And the T5 in my car is from an 83, according to the numbers inside of it. I bought it thinking it was a world class late one like yours, but no, it's not. So it won't hold up to a ton of power. Like that transmission will hold up to A little over 300 horsepower. It's like 350, I think. Your world class will hold closer to 5, but your block will only hold 5 anyway. So you're pretty good with that tranny, like, or not quite 500, but it's close to that. It's like 450 or something like that. But like your transmission, I would want for my car, to be honest. They are really, really strong transmissions, and they have better gear ratios too. Like your transmission in your 1990, that's gonna have the better overdrive in it, and because that's gonna have the point, I think it's 6.62 to 1 overdrive, which is pretty good. That'll knock your RPMs so low. Even if you had like 410s in it, you'd be fine on the highway. Um, just making sure that I didn't miss comments, or because now if anybody has typed anything after Street Stomper said 100th, LOL, I haven't seen it. And sometimes YouTube is just buggy, and it's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. Even Shane had a problem with putting in a simple comment. I don't know why that was the case, but it was. So yeah, it's just one of those things that been having problems with this thing, and it's just, welcome to YouTube. So much fun, so much fun. Got to love doing the YouTubes. Ooh, ooh, that's a tough call. Oh yeah, well, see, that's the one thing. So typically, the those 5 liters, the 5 liters in the Fox bodies, the blocks typically can only hold 500 horsepower. Sometimes a little more than that, but typically it's 500 when they break. As I'm sure you're aware, and like there are some people that get a little more than that, but not too often. It just does happen occasionally, though. Hey Shane, it's okay. It that's how it goes. Don't worry about it. I am, that's the one thing. When it comes to idiots in their comments, I'm a queen and I take care of it myself. It's not a problem with that. You know, if people want to come at me, then come at me. It's fine. I will totally, put them in their place, which I did because I banned that guy. Just idiots in the car hobby. Ooh, ouch. Well, at least you can laugh about it now. And hey, as long as it wasn't the 4i you were hurting, if it was an arrow, that's fine. Of course, I kid. I love my 4i's. The arrows aren't my favorite. They're fine, but I like the 4i's a lot more. It's just a little. I like the styling and I like how simplistic they are. Also, if you don't have AC, it's one of the easiest cars on the planet to change the heater core out of. I've done it twice. Like 86 and back, if you don't have a AC in your car, heater core, it'll take you about 20 minutes to do it. Well, the fact, like, I mean, Jesse, he did put LOL at the end of that, so I'm gonna guess that he can laugh about it now. But I mean, making the jokes. I mean, that's the one thing. If you're in the car hobby and you can't survive a little bit of a joke, you are gonna have a tough time. It's just one of these things, and it sounds like he's been around it for a while. So 20 years. Wow. I mean, that's the one thing. And now, I mean, so okay. Oh, so you did that 20 years ago. See, too bad you didn't try. Like, too bad you didn't try and get one, like, say, 10 years ago. Now, you may not have been in financial means to have another one again at that point. I don't know your story or anything. Not gonna assume anything. But that would have been the time to try and buy one because that's before they exploded. Because now those things, like, I mean, especially the Aero stick cars, they can go for a lot of money. And it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't understand why Fox bodies are getting so expensive. Because having owned two, I love my cars, but they shouldn't be that expensive. And they're everywhere. Or at least can be. Because yeah, like and don't get me wrong, I can still get four eyes for cheap. There are some people that think they're really expensive, but they just don't know. And that's the one thing, even because a friend of mine, Braden, who I was supposed to be a few weeks ago, I was supposed to be working on his car. This would have been 3 weeks ago, I think. I think. I don't know. Whenever I was actually up in Edmonton, and I did a live up there too. Um. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, okay, but it wasn't that old of a car back then. Yeah, well, the one thing is that, and I just don't. Fox bodies being worth a ton of money makes no sense to me. It just, the only reason why I say that, it's not even because of the age. They're not rare. Fox bodies are common, you know. Now I will say, on for common traffic, S550s are a lot more common. But in saying that, in the enthusiast realm, Fox bodies are very common. You'll see them everywhere. True, but and it's um, but most people having a midlife crisis, if they're gonna buy a Mustang, they're usually going for a little later. They're gonna go for like the new Edge, maybe even an S550. They might even go for an S197. You know, not as many of those are getting a Fox body. And just because of a lot of those guys with their midlife crisis, they don't want to deal with carburation and stuff like that anymore, typically. I mean, at times. Although it's interesting of how many guys think that Fox body convertibles are girls' cars. Now, don't get me wrong. I own a Fox body convertible. I'm a woman. I don't care. But it is kind of funny to say that, and it does, like, something though that has always bothered me a little bit is when they say something is a girl's car or something is a guy's car, because, like, here's the thing actually. So one of the best examples of kind of failed marketing in a way is, did you know that the Subaru Impreza and Subaru Forester from the 90s right up until about 2004, they were actually marketed towards lesbians. This is 100% true. 100% true. And now it didn't really work out that way. And it turns out that, yeah, actually, guys like them a lot more than girls do. Don't get me wrong. As I found out, just being in, girl car groups like I have, because I'm in a few women's only car groups. Um, Yeah, they some of them actually do have Subarus. And some of them I swear they are gay, but my gaydar hasn't been working very well lately. Being a gay woman, and for some reason, it's not working as well. It's sad. That's true. But now, see, and I don't know if you watched. So, a few months ago, um, like a few months ago, there was the on Donut Media. This was about 2 months ago, I want to say, maybe a little over a month ago. They finished up their high low series, or at least this season of it, on the Impreza WRX SDI. Um, And the one thing is, the Subaru community was irate with how they treated those cars and how it went. But it's one of those things where what they showed in that and all the problems they had in that, that is your average enthusiast who does not realize that Subarus are very specialty and they require a lot of specialty stuff to make them properly reliable if you're going to beat on them. Because otherwise you'll blow up motors like they did. They blew up a few. They went through 5 engines with 2 cars. Pretty insane. Think about that. And it's just one of these things, you know, that way. But in seeing that, it's like, yeah, and that would be the average enthusiast, I think, because again, they don't realize that. They just want to buy a Subaru and they think, oh, hey, I can do all this power to it, and they're not going to do the research because most enthusiasts won't do the research into their car. They'll buy it, they'll do some mods to it, they blow it up. That's usually how it goes. There's only the hardcore enthusiasts like us that actually do the research into the cars and realize what you can actually do to it, what it can hold, what you need to do to make it reliable, that sort of thing. If it's not reliable as is. And actually, I see. So next year's convertible time and Soldier 66 before the divorce, but regretted every day. Oh yeah, see, first gen. I would love a first gen Mustang, to be honest. They're really cool. And fun fact, so because there's always those people that'll say, oh, a Mustang needs a V8 because otherwise it's not a Mustang. Well, the very first Mustang had an inline six, and it was also marketed as to women, to be honest, as like a secretary's car. That's how that was initially marketed as. Later on, once they shoved a V8 in it, then they went towards men. But you watch the very early commercials, it was targeted directly at women, 100%. So it's just kind of funny that way, how that goes, right? So these people want to get upset. It's like, well, know your history of the car, because then you would realize that. And yeah, and to be honest, I love. See, actually, I didn't realize that about the Camaro, but it doesn't surprise me, to be honest. And it's just one of these things, and people, because how much crap I got, especially in the beginning, because once I got into the Fox body community, because my 81 Mustang, that was my first Fox body, and just Mustang community in general, very first Mustang period. I actually never owned a car prior to that car, so that's my very first car ever bought. I bought a motorcycle prior to that, but it was wrecked, so it doesn't really count. I was just flipping that. I wasn't fixing it. But and I did flip that, and then I made some money on it back in the day. See me. But it's just one of these things where how many people just were so upset that I was retaining the inline six in my car, that I was not swapping it for a V8 because it has to have a V8 and blah 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 blah. It's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And V8s are fun. Absolutely. I have a V8 Fox Buddy. I know how fun they can be. And that one doesn't even have all the power that it should. Because really, Mustang V8 with a 302 should have over 200 horsepower. Mine doesn't. Nowhere near. I need different heads. I have to swap the heads for me to have good horsepower. I've also got flat top pistons with no valve relief, so that sucks. Try to put a cam in that thing. So, welcome to the 1988 Ford Thunderbird 302 with the E6 heads. Enjoy hell. With all my upgrades to that thing, with the Shelby aftermarket intake from the 60s, with the Holly 600 carb, with the MSD ignition, with no emissions and dual exhaust. I am making 130 wheel horsepower. Woo! So sad, man. So sad. It's a fun car. Man, is it disappointing in the power department. 100%. And also being an automatic, it's slower too, but I don't think I'm going to convert that to a manual. I do want to put an AOD in that car, but that's it, honestly. Now, that thing's much easier to convert to a T5 than my 81 was, for sure, but it's one of those things that I just don't know 100%. But sweet. Sweet. Well, so automatics are only good for drag racing if you have an upgraded converter. If you're a stock converter, they're not. And that's one of those things, right? Where a T5 out of the box just makes more power, right, compared to the stock converter. But yeah, if you're running a different converter, if you upgrade the valve body within your automatic, it can definitely be better than a manual, to be honest, especially on a drag strip. That's 100% true. But out of the box, no, T5 is way better. That's true. Like, true. Yeah, like you're not wrong. Although, not gonna lie, I'm gonna be one of those people that run my cars on a drag strip, and it's not that way, but it's okay. I will just have fun, and I'll be outran by everybody. That's fine, because I can be slow and have fun. But what's really fun though about having that automatic in the car? So I haven't driven that automatic when the road is just absolutely bare and having fun that way. Because again, I finished the swap in January, so it's one of these things. But like even so, driving down the road, honestly, there was no snow or ice on the road, but there was a little bit of rocks on the road. So I wanted to whip a Yui really quick to take pictures of that Trans Am that I found, right? So all I did was whip wide, and then as soon as I turn, I pin it, and the car just goes whee, just went around. Because welcome to a manual transmission and a limited slip. Love it, you know. And that limited slip is amazing. I love that because it gives me so much extra traction, but then I can spin the car if I want to as well. It's great. Couldn't do that with the open rear end no matter what I did. I love grinding gears. I mean, shifting gears while racing. See, and that's one thing. I haven't officially raced my cars yet. Not yet. It will happen. I will. Okay, correction. There is one drag race I ever did. One. I got my ass kicked, which is fine. I knew I was going to. I was racing, and it's funny because so it was just me. I still had the automatic in my car. I still had the stock rear end in my car. And bear in mind, my car stock had a 6 3/4 rear end with a 273 gears that was an open rear end, right? So I lined up against my buddy's girlfriend that was driving his car. So this was a 2002 Mustang V6 automatic. Now it had a tune on it. It had a cold air intake. That's basically it for any mods done to this thing. And we line up, right? Now it's so funny because my front brakes were so bad when doing this that because when we lined up and before it said 3 2 1 go, I was trying to mash on the brake, or so like have the brakes on all the way and mash the throttle. That's all I was trying to do, because stock converter in that thing is only 1500 stall. So it's not like you're getting that much revs anyways. It's not even going to spin the tire no matter what at 1500 RPM in a car that makes no power, right? So, yeah, but unfortunately when I did that, the car lurches forward a little bit, and I realized, oh, it's not going to hold it. Okay, fine. So we go, and they pull in front of me by quite a bit. And the only reason why I started to reel them in a little bit is because the stupid tune on that car, you had to sort of shift it manually with the automatic. Otherwise, it would just rev and it wouldn't shift, right? Unless you kind of let go of the throttle a little bit. And so I reeled them in a little bit, but then they just pulled away completely after that, right? I mean, again, I was running. I don't even know how much power I was running at that time. I had my exhaust on the car, I think. My really terrible dual exhaust that I had at the time. It's much better dual exhaust now. And yeah, running that, it if brain will work. Brain, can you work? Brain fart. Just totally lost my train of thought. Potentially. Well, one thing is, if you took the tune off of that thing, right? Off of his. So, take the tune out and it would shift just fine. It was just that stupid tune he put in it. I did not like that. The car was decent, actually. I drove it. It was good car, to be honest. Like, I drove it a couple times. Actually, I drove it to show you ride for Brandon once. Because last year I took my convertible. So last year kind of sucked though. The year before was better for that. And apparently they're taking a year off from doing it. So I don't have to worry about show you ride for Brandon this year. Because it's such just one of those things. And wait. Oh, okay, that's in the States. Boo! Wow, that's cheap. Although it's been in a freaking swamp by the looks of it, and a tree definitely fell on that thing. But that's a good price for and that is an F100 too, with a V8. Ooh, that is cheap. Now, okay, what's dumb? I get I get ads from the States at times, and it bothers me because I'm not in the States. I'm Canadian. Why do I get ads on Facebook from the States? Oh, they took some parts out of it. Okay, they're saying it's a parts truck. That's why. Okay, that's why it's only 800 bucks. Because it was 1970 F100 or 72 F100, right, with a V8 in it. Couldn't tell what V8 it was, but V8, and just looks like that it was in a freaking just a bunch of moss on it. So, and just in those climates. And actually, I do need to plug in my laptop here. See, and that's the one thing I don't have to worry about that here, which I'm so happy about that. That I can just any car that I buy, I don't need to worry about a title unless if it's American. Okay, cool. You didn't need to let me know that on screen. My computer just let me know, hey, virus threat saw nothing on your computer. Cool. Didn't need to know. Didn't need you to tell me that, but cool. And yeah, it's just honestly, just fun. And like I really can't wait though for what's next on the car, which there's some wild stuff happening to the car. Because actually, because Street Stomper probably hasn't seen too much of my content yet, I don't know if he knows about the prototype EFI that is being designed currently for my car. That EFI system is going to be a multi-point fuel injection that is going to basically be run without an ECU on my inline six. So honestly, it will be quite interesting when that happens because it's in early stages right now. It's just one of these things, that there's still going to be a lot of trial and error to figure this thing out. But once it is, yeah, have that head put on my car and it'll be freaking awesome. One of a kind. And again, no ECU. It's going to be run off of what are those called? As my brain has decided to not remember the name. Pertronic sensors. There we go. The Pertronic sensors within the distributor cap, and it's going to fire on 3 coil packs. That's going to run 6 injectors. So it's going to be really cool, to be honest. And it's going to bump power by quite a bit. Fuel efficiency is going to go up a little bit. And I'll have something that people will look at and go, huh? Because it's the inline 6. It was never designed for fuel injection, period. So now it's not like later on in the life cycle of that motor, technically, if you go late enough, in Australia, they did put injection on it. They didn't do it here, though. So this is going to be really neat. True. And okay, so you are in Canada. I didn't know that. Cool. And yeah, definitely. Like that thing gets really good gas mileage. So combined economy, I get 28 miles per gallon. Highway, I get 31. So pretty good. Raspberry Pi. Huh? What? Wait, is that like PEI is what you mean? Or I'm confuzzled. What? I don't know what you mean by that. Apologies. Um, like I looked that up, and honestly, it's showing me like microchips and stuff. Oh, is that what you're talking about? Hang on. Hey, let's take a look here. So there's some technology stuff. You're in Kelowna. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, actually, so I haven't been to Kelowna in quite a number of years. My grandmother lives in Kelowna, actually. And honestly, it's I haven't been out there in a long time, and I've been meaning to get out there. It's just money's been tight, and it's been rather difficult to try and do a trip like that. Um, but I definitely do want to do that again because it's been a long time, and she lives not that far from a beach, so it's quite nice. I love it there, especially the car scene there is really cool. That's actually first time I ever saw a Golf livery Ford GT. The only time I've seen a Golf livery Ford GT was in Kelowna. I was walking down Gyro Beach on the sidewalk there, and it drove right past me. We'll never forget that. That's when these were like new, right? So, and to see it was really awesome. My dad actually was born in Kelowna and grew up there, so as well, that's pretty cool. And no, so like this is gonna be running off like Protronic sensors and stuff like that. This EFI system though. We won't be running any like there won't really be any computers in this. It's just simple sensors, simple LED boards, and the complicated part is going to be figuring out how much fuel to put into the thing, and it's going to be a returnless EFI system. So there's going to be no return to the tank. So, and again, I'm not the engineer on this. That's my buddy Shane. He was in the chat for a little bit earlier. And yeah, like when you see VCMD Productions, that's my buddy Shane. He's the one designing the entire thing. The only input I'm having on it, to be honest, is just certain things. Like, I did ask because, well, the one thing that I'm a little concerned with, because we'll see 100% how we can get that, and who knows, you might be able to get it bang on and it's fine. To figure out the AFR, right? Because you want that bang on the money because you can have issues if you don't. I trust him and everything, but it's one of those things where if we had like a mass airflow or like a map sensor, that'd be kind of nice just for, figuring that out. Or I might just say screw it myself and add in a whatchamacallit in there. So add in a O2 sensor with an AFR gauge inside my car. You know, that's likely what I'll do, to be honest, for sure. But yeah, see, and I don't think that this is very interesting. I'm just looking up this Raspberry Pi computer. This is interesting. Wow, so this is a computer for only 35 bucks. It's just a simple little circuit board. And you can have as much as 8 gigs of RAM in it. Interesting. I'm assuming, just an assumption, that this is like similar to a phone circuit board that way, and they've just made it into a computer, which these are technically a computer with a phone built in. So, that's interesting. I've never even heard of that. That's cool. But, it's just one of these things that I am I'm just excited for this system. And like honestly, I would like to, visit Kelowna again because it's been a long time. Like the last time I was in Kelowna, this was probably 13 years ago ish. Somewhere around there. 13 or 14 years it's been since I've been in Kelowna. So it's been a long time. But it was always a nice drive too. Just a long drive. Because I'm in Sundre, Alberta. So tiny town in south central Alberta. Um, I am not too far from Calgary, not too far from Red Deer for reference. So it's about an hour to each, give or take. Depending on Calgary, it might be a little longer than that, but but yeah, it's one of these things that um, just kind of cool in the car hobby. And and like where like and honestly like with people with their cars and wherever they are, because like Kelowna, there's a lot of money in Kelowna, you know and I'm sure you're aware of that because you live there. And it is quite wild that way. um where so my sorry, brain is not functioning right now. Because even like when I was in Montreal for a little bit, for my surgery that I had back in 2020, I saw some really cool cars there. Like, um, I mean, I saw a Z3M, which is the first time I've ever seen one of those, and like a Z3M, it's a little clown shoe. It's cool, and you just don't see them. They're very rare over here. Because being in Alberta, you know, and luckily, like I don't deal with the super high gas prices that you do. I complain about my gas prices, but it's nowhere near what you pay for. I'll say that. It's actually just out of curiosity. I'm gonna load up Gas Buddy right now and see how much the cheapest gas is in Kelowna. I can do that. Now it's not gonna be as bad as say Vancouver, but it's still gonna be awful, I'm sure. Let's see, find gas in Kelowna, BC, Canada. There we go. Let's see. Not as expensive as I thought it was gonna be. It's still very expensive though. Whew. Jeez. Now, and actually, for reference, I've never actually seen gas prices that high unless if it was 91. Like here. That, ouch. Oof. Wow, there's some stations that are very, very pricey. Yeah. And the chat has just died now. I'm sad. Well, did everybody fall asleep or people just stop talking? Because I mean, if I'm not gonna have too much conversation in chat, to be honest, I will just end the stream. To be honest, it's one of these things where I've just kind of run out of things to talk about. Because it's one of these things like yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay, you hadn't chatted in a while. Holy crap. Because if you had said anything prior to that, after your Raspberry Pi as a mini computer comment, I haven't seen any other of your comments. So if you were commenting, I didn't see them. It was a $1.93. Holy crap! Jesus. Yeah, no, I have never seen prices that high in person. I've only seen it on the internet, and I'm so glad because holy crap, that's insane. That is insane. Like for reference, I complain at like a $1.30 here. Wow. Like even in my car, I put 91 octane in there today, and I paid like a buck. I think it was a $1.50 for gas for 91. And to be honest, I probably should have just put 87 in it, but oh well. Wanted to put 91 in because I want to see if there's a difference in fuel mileage because there might be. But yeah, like that's insane price. Actually, I wonder, are you actually so on the live stream itself? Because you might be a little bit behind, only because like some of the stuff that you're mentioning is a little behind, or at least seems like. Is your bar at the bottom all the way over, or is it a couple seconds behind? Just out of curiosity, because yeah, or unless you just haven't been commenting, because there could be that. But yeah, like that's insane, insane. has a K. Has a what? I get puzzled. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by your truck has a K? Oh, and I actually need to move my seat up just a little bit. Ah, okay. Has a Hemi. Yeah, those Hemis do really drink gas pretty well. Um, Especially if you don't have the cylinder deactivation, and even then, that really only works on the highway. Um, because yeah, like in my '81 Mustang, I get right around. So if because I know miles per gallon better than liters per 100 kilometers, but in liters per 100 kilometers, I get about 9 on the highway and about 10 and a half mixed. So not bad, to be honest, per 100 kilometers. And then yeah, and like I said, it's 28 miles per gallon roughly, and a roughly 31 miles per gallon. It's pretty good. Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, there is going to be a little bit of a delay. Even with me doing the stuff on the screen that I can see live in person, you're still going to have a few seconds delay regardless. So there is that. But yeah, because it's cool that you're from Kelowna. Don't meet too many people on my live or even just in comments in general from Kelowna. It's just kind of neat because again, my dad grew up there, so and I've been there a few times. Now, could I tell you how to get around town? No, not anymore. There was a time. There was a time, but I don't remember too much of Kelowna anymore. But I do want to get back there though. One of these days. When I could stomach the gas prices, because my god. Yeah, and I mean that's the one thing, because even on Saturdays, on my buddy Novitaz's YouTube channel, it's a lot of Americans typically, and even Jesse, who was talking earlier in here, Jesse Williams, he's American as well. So, or at least, yeah, no, yeah, he's American. Why is my mind saying maybe he's not? I don't know why saying that. I don't know. He won't see this. It's fine. But he's usually in those lives as well, just not on screen, but he's in the comments. But I'm there most weeks. Every Saturday so for your time it'd be 6 o'clock. Um, and yeah, it's just an automotive chat. That's usually a pretty good time. Especially depending on how much we have in the chat. How many people commenting and stuff like that. Because that's what kind of runs the chat a bit. Not that me and Sean can't just run the entire thing ourselves, to be honest. We don't really need chatters. We can just keep talking. But it's one of those deals. Because actually, I can. Actually, I'm going to do this for you. So, I'm going to check out his channel. Because again, Novitaz is American. It's just one of the channels that the channel that I'm live on ever. Like I said, every Saturday. And that is Novitaz's channel. That's my buddy Sean. And yeah, honestly, for the automotive podcast, they're a pretty good time. And we have, every once in a while we'll have guests on there. Not too often. It's typically me, him, and maybe one or two others up on screen. And he has a much more professional setup than I do. I just literally have my laptop with my webcam, and I'm just going live through YouTube. He's using other software and Skype and stuff like that. One thing you'll learn about me is I don't use very much technology on average. I am very basic when it comes to my stuff. my channel, because everything you saw in that video, and he'll definitely appreciate that. Because like everything that happens on my channel, nothing is fabricated. Everything is 100%. What happens. There's no edit. There's almost no editing in my videos, and there is honestly almost it's just very basic videos that I do, and it's quite nice. Now I'll do some more things. And now, okay, actually, hey Shane, taking the bird up in the mountains and feeling great. Music time and no curse. Uh, okay, I know you're drunk, but you're not driving, are you? You better not be. You better not be driving. Oh, see, that's my friend Shane. He's he's just having a good time tonight, and that's fine. His some of his friends came over with booze, and they're having a good time. But him saying comments like that, I'm like, you've been drinking. All off road. Well, if you're in a field or something like that, just go for it. Just please don't hurt yourself to the point where you can't design my EFI system anymore. Or hey, if you die, I call dibs on your Lincoln though. Just saying. Oh. Well, Cam is rude. Because but I want the burb, or not the burb. Okay, we're fine. Can I? The problem is if you crash the Thunderbird, I don't want it though. How's that gonna work? Tell you what. Okay, so if you die in the T-Bird, I want the drivetrain. There. That's that's all I'll do. That dibs on the drivetrain and the T-Bird. And obviously, as you can tell, Street Stomper, we have a lot of fun here. It's one of these things. My live streams are very laid back. They are just one of these things where it just go with the flow of the chat, see where it goes. And yeah, I just try to have a lot of fun and be upbeat and that sort of thing. Because that's just how I am. Yeah. Oh, and that's the one thing. Like, and even with my channel, like everything is 100% real. Whatever you see happens. So like the issues that happened in that video, like of the door not closing and the hood not wanting to close. That's only because I just washed the car and I didn't dry it all the way, so some of it froze pretty quickly, and that's the reason why that happened. But it happens. It's fun. And that's the one thing I always try and be absolutely genuine in everything I do because it's just who I am. And that's the one thing. Who you see up here is who I am. And how you see me in videos is who I am. I'm very enthusiastic and I just have a lot of fun anytime I can. And yeah, because even like, although it's funny because like there are people that do get upset with the way I film my channel and with how I do things. And I'm like, what, you want me to be like mundane and not show you guys the mistakes I make? Because this is the average in car enthusiast. This is how I am. Other than like a lot of them don't have the upbeat and fun attitude like I have, but it's one of those things where I am, other than that though, like you see my stuff, you see when I get frustrated in videos too. 100%. That's never cut. Um, oh, you actually have a channel as well. I wasn't sure if that was just a name or if you actually had a proper channel. See now, okay. Let's see. Let's go YouTube. I'm gonna check out your channel. Not right now. I'm just gonna type it in and then look it up later. There you are. Oh, you have. Okay, you have a good amount of subscribers actually. I don't want the sound from your. There we go. Okay, there we go. Your sort of video on your thing started playing with the sound. I'm like, I don't want that. But yeah, no, actually, you're okay. Cool. So just looking at your stuff, yeah, it looks actually very similar to some actually like your thumbnails and stuff like that. Actually, quite professional to be honest. I do like that. My channel's not professional at all. I just run off the cuff, but and there's always going to be the haters. Exactly, right? And it's one of these things where just have to ignore them. Well, actually, so what I do, and you'll see if I'm dealing with a troll or anything like that, I honestly just keep going with them in the comments. Only reason why I'm doing that, it has nothing to do with me being upset. That's very, very rare I get upset with comments. What I'm actually doing, I'm feeding the algorithm. So every single time that they comment, right? And if somebody replies to that comment and so on and so forth, that will honestly carry on. And that will, you know, that will actually have more, the more engagement you have like that, the more views you get or can get, right? The more your video gets recommended. All that different stuff. It's quite, you know, quite interesting. And people don't realize that. They think I'm upset, but no, I'm not. I just go at them and I just keep going. And eventually they usually back off. I usually get them to back off versus me. But sometimes I back off too. But it's one of those things. And I just, I can debate with people pretty easily that way. Ooh. Exactly, Although there is a point, so I will say, like, I'm in some women's only car groups, right? One of them in particular, I've gotten a lot of hate. And no matter what, that is gonna get the most negative attention of anything I do. Is if I ever post anything about a group that I'm in called No Boys Allowed. Now, it's honestly just a fun group that's a women's only group. We do have events that men are allowed, and even some of our meets, some guys can be there at times, just depends. And it's just a genuinely good time. But people get so upset because of the name, and it's so funny to me. It really is, because I just laugh. Now, there is a video, if you scroll far enough on my channel, there is one video that I did, just of comments that I've gotten and text messages and stuff like that of being a car girl in the hobby, right? It's all related to that, of how much negative comments and just how many times I've been hit on and all this different stuff. I made that all into one video. And there was a lot of guys that didn't realize that that's what I go through. And they're just like, wow, they had a much more appreciation for me after that. Because even some of my friends that I know in real life, they had no idea. And it's like, yeah, no, that's welcome to being a woman in the car hobby. It can be really toxic, depending. And that's one of those things. And like I will say, I I don't care if you're a man or a woman or anything like that. I don't care. It's your personality that matters to me. Now, I do find women's car meets are the most fun. They because we have typically have more energy, and it's just just have a better time that way. Versus the guys, where it's a good time, but it's just not as fun, right? So that's what I like about the NBA meets. Okay, no boys allowed. Oh, another car in the States. Okay, can this stop? Stop that. That's so annoying. Ooh, that's a pretty car. But and it's just yeah, it's fun. And I know the woman who actually created the group, and she actually did name it that just for people who don't understand. They might get upset about it. She did that on purpose. But I love Sarah. She's fantastic, to be honest. And yeah, it's just a fun group. Hey, there we go. So I just subscribed to your channel, which ooh, you have a lot of views on your channel too. Nice, very nice. No, you have a pretty good channel, actually. Just looking at that really quick. I'll have to check out your content. See if because who knows? Maybe there are people that their content isn't my favorite, but okay, and that's unfortunate to hear. I hope she's okay. Like, is that doing like is everything with her all right? Because like, and I do understand, especially when the health gets in the way of stuff. Because I have a ton of health issues, to be honest. And that's one of those things where I can't always do what I want because of that. So I do have to be careful with doing some stuff because if I'm not, I will faint. Actually, I faint quite a bit, but I push myself too hard, and that'll happen. So, but yeah, it's one of those things, And but I did notice like your channel, like it's got quite a decent amount of views. Because even if I look up mine, real quick here, go over to mine, because I have a lot more videos than you do, but that's I just post a ton, to be honest. Wait, no, I don't want YouTube Studio. I want my channel. Damn it. I screwed up. My channel. My channel. And scroll all the way to the end. Yeah, so you're actually only about... You are 110,000 views behind me. That's pretty well. Oh, that's so unfortunate. That's rough, to be honest. Especially being that young to be diagnosed with it. Oh man. But I will say, children who go through that have typically the best mindsets when it comes to it. You know? And so at least any of the ones that I've come across. But that's definitely rough. Like, But I do, but hopefully she's doing well though. Like, I mean, type 1 is, that's quite difficult to deal with. Um, like, I'm so happy I don't have diabetes because I don't even know if my body would cope with having diabetes just because of the way I have to eat because of my condition. Because yeah, like undiagnosed condition. I have a thing that I'm pretty sure I have a condition called POTS, which is a heart condition. And basically, so like when I stand up, my heart rate will shoot up, to be honest, more than it should. And if I'm like, bending down or whatever else like that, I can't do that for very long because my head will, you know, I'll get very lightheaded and I will actually faint. So, and I've fainted quite a few times. So it's just one of these things that I just have to be careful about. And because of that, I have to, actually a lot of salt I have to have in my diet, a lot of it. So, and I do. It does help. But, well, that's good at least, because yeah, and I can understand that could take a while. I've never been tested, but they've never even thought of that, to be honest. Like, it's one of these things of, and just all the symptoms kind of line up with POTS, but you have to fight tooth and nail for a diagnosis of POTS. And I just don't want to deal with that. I already fought tooth and nail for my diagnosis for my estrogen levels to get the surgery I needed so I could actually be healthier. They just did not want to do it, but I forced their hand. So, yeah. I just thought the health system kind of sucks. It's nice that it's free and everything, but sometimes it's really frustrating to try and get testing for anything. To be honest, so they don't seem to care as much about my health. You see, and I don't think I have like low iron levels either. It's one of these things that honestly, like something actually, I am. Ooh, I do need to get up though, because the one thing is, I can feel it happening, but I need to grab one of my power rates, or actually probably a couple power rates. Uh hang on one second. I'll be right back. Hopefully, I don't fall over. This is gonna be rough. Sorry, Saber. Here, entertain them while I'm gone for a moment. Oh. Okay, there we go. Oh, geez, that's rough. Oh. There we go. Power rates. Those are gonna help. Oh. Oof. That was close. Oh. There we go. Okay. These are a lifesaver. 100%. Oh, that's better. Oh. Yeah. It's the like the salt and like the sodium content, honestly, in these are just incredible. Plus the electrolytes that you get from these too really helps. And like I drink a lot of these, to be honest. Because they help. And usually, like during the summertime, if I'm going out somewhere, I have a cooler in my car full of these. So, especially if I'm going to a car show, I make sure that I'm going to be prepared for it because I've been at car shows where I fainted. It's not fun, you know. And these are one of my best shots of not. They're not a surefire solution, but they're a good way of combating that. Uh, Whew, there we go. That's nice. But yeah, and it's just something I fight, you know, and that's a daily struggle, and you know, there's not as much I can do about it. The only thing I could do is get like IVs basically daily. That's about it. Because other than that, you know, it's just something, you know. Yeah, I can imagine like and these because it's interesting like if you're diabetic too, these are fantastic for that if you need that, right? And yeah, so you know that struggle that way. Hey Saber, you still have your snack in here. If you're wanting food, there's still your snack from earlier. Saber, come here. I guess both the cats might want just food. They might not want their snack. Damn it. Okay, I gotta get back up again because my cats want food. Even though I just sat down and of and I didn't. It wasn't easy. Hang on. Need to feed my cats really quick. So hopefully this will be okay. We shall see. It's always fun. Okay. Oh, okay. Slow. Ooh. That was fine for most of the day. But it doesn't pick favorites on what it wants to hit. Okay, I need a spoon for you guys. Yeah, hi, rascal. Can you give me a moment, please? Oh, okay. Whew. Oh. There you go, boys. Whoa. Whew. That was close. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh. Whew. There we go. I am okay. For now. Yeah, I can have rough episodes, and luckily, it's only ever hit me while I'm driving. If it's like really hot outside, I do have to basically grab one of these and just chug it. I can do it while driving. It's not the end of the world. I've only had one major instance, and I didn't know at the time. Um, I didn't even have any of these. It was the first kind of instance that I had of that. But luckily, the only really bad instance driving was once, so now it's not so bad. I can uh, I can drive just fine, luckily, because most people with POTS can't drive. So I count myself lucky in that regard because I don't know what I would do as myself if I couldn't drive. Like, because cars and driving are like my sort of crutch. They are my favorite thing, and if I had that taken away from me, I don't know what I would do with myself. But oh crap! I left my phone over there. Son of a bitch! My phone just went off. Ah, so too bad I can't train my cats to go grab my phone. Bring it to me. Ah, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know what else to talk about really. It's one of these things, But I've been going for almost 4 hours now, so and it is. Like luckily the notification was for Facebook, and I was able to check what that was. It was just an ad that I saw earlier that I had to take a picture of on my phone because it was freaking priceless, and I posted to Facebook because so what it was because I there's this channel that I love watching. It's a magnet fishing channel, So they have these magnets and they throw them into rivers and stuff like that, and they see what they can pull up. It's quite entertaining to watch. And so when doing that, although I can't watch the channel for too much because that first person camera that's kind of moving back and forth like that when they're like pulling stuff up, it really screws with my head. So I gotta be careful at times watching that because I have been like all fine and I watch like 3 videos and I try to get up and I just collapse. I'm like, oh, whoops. Because I do have issues with that too, with camera stuff. And like, if it's not high quality, also it can screw with my head too. But anyways, when I was watching that earlier, like watching this channel earlier, I was doing that. There was this ad on YouTube on the side because I was watching it on my laptop here, and what it actually said, which is just so funny. That's why I had to put it because I'm like, and all I put was for the caption is "Know your audience, YouTube," or YouTube advertisers, know your audience. And literally, it's an ad that says, "Do this trick to get hard instantly." Oh, God. Just seeing that made me laugh so hard, and I had to take a picture of that because that was just priceless. It's amazing. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I still have 4 viewers. Love it. See me. And yeah, like just again, like seeing that, it was just, oh God, that was just so made my night. So made my night. And yeah, it's just one of those things. And he just a friend of mine was commenting on that post that I made about that. Oh. There we go. Um, yeah, and actually, if there is anything you want to talk about or anything you want to ask me personally, I will admit that there's lots of stuff I'll talk about, but if it's a question and I don't want to answer it, I will let you know that. But other than that, if you have a question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I might actually end the stream because I'm almost at 4 hours to be honest, and I'm just starting to feel a little worse just with my condition. It's just getting worse. So, and don't worry, like if you want to stick around, like I can still stick around. It's fine. Um, it's one of these things, and um, as the brain doesn't work, because this is the one thing too, is when I'm feeling symptomatic, especially. I'll start to get this brain fog. And basically, my mind at times when it'll get a little foggy, basically, and I can't talk as well. I can't think as much either, and I can't even like type or really anything. Right? It does. It's yeah. Here it comes. It's a it's a struggle. And this is, again, another one of these symptoms of potentially POTS. And again, I just have a feeling of that. And oh, no worries. I can, yeah, like I said, I can end the stream. It's not the end of the world. And you've got to be up in 2 hours to do snow removal. Ooh. I was gonna say, I mean, I appreciate you being here, but yeah, go remove that snow. Or go to sleep so you can remove the snow. Because, yeah, having zero sleep or little sleep doing that sucks. Yeah, because trust me, I deal with snow all the time too. So, oddly enough, you being in Kelowna, you know, you can deal with some snow out there. Like, it does happen, but, you know, it's one of these things. Being out in Alberta, we can get a lot of freaking snow out here. We actually have in the past bit. Like, my convertible's completely buried out front of my house right now. Completely. You can see it just fine, but, you know, the snow is up to about the door. Yeah, you do. I wish we could have that little of snow. I wish. Because, yeah, you know, it was just the other day. This was like 3 days ago. We got over a foot of snow within less than 24 hours. Which I'm so glad, you know, we're getting towards the end of the season. You know, come basically, you know, give or take April, May, we'll be fine. You know, we won't have any snow on the ground anymore. But it's usually closer to May for that. So, but anyways, for any of the people that are here that are just lurking, I am gonna end the stream here though. Definitely appreciate everybody coming out, and if any of you maniacs listen to the end of this, well, you are very appreciated on this channel. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, stay tuned for further content in the future. And if you haven't already, go check out my previous video. And yeah, and oh yeah, sounds good. And like I said, my streams, they're not, I do them randomly. They are never scheduled. Although I might do one tomorrow. While I'm working on my car. We'll see for sure. I might just make that a video itself, but I don't know for sure. But anyways, it was nice chatting with you too. And yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.